In this world, the Earth is running out of resources for survival, and people must now go to the Demon Tower to look for supplies for everyone. Only the main character has not become strong in 15 years and never thought that he has the potential to become a powerful hero in the world. But one day the guy discovered something in his body, and whether the guy could become a strong warrior? We will find out in this story, and the story is interesting. The story begins with talismans flying everywhere in the air and people believing in the success of the operation, but decided to wait and not rush there. People say this is a C-class tower, and their squad of demon hunters, the Black Cat, has never entered such a steep tower, and it is dangerous there. People listen to each other, and Mr. Lao Tian told his colleagues that he 100% agrees, and life is more important than money, and he cares about everyone. But Lao Tian told his friends that an hour had already passed and there would probably be no one left, and the hunters were busy with other towers and they had no choice there. Lao Tian began to open the tower, and he is not worried about his friends, and they are ready for difficult missions, and no one will obviously stop their squad. Lao Tian dispelled the seal and opened the tower, and the Black Cat squad is ready to complete the task, and the demon hunters are not afraid of different beasts. The Black Cat demon hunter squad shouted, "The door is open!" And everyone went to the tower, and it was time to earn money on their skills. Lao Tian realized that their team had spent all their savings to buy a Class C key, and by entering the tower they were obliged to earn without losses. Lao Tian froze in place looking at the territory, and he was surprised. And where are all the comrades? And in vain they went without the master's order, and they cannot rush. Lao Tian wondered if all the hunters had been teleported, and he wouldn't understand and had to keep going. And then he would find his colleagues, and that was important. A demon hunter appeared behind the master and asked if it was Lao Tian, and he was worried that monsters had entered their territory. Lao Tian suggested that the hunter go and find other colleagues, and the hunter saw how the others went in different directions and wanted to get ahead of the others. Lao Tian heard a strange voice behind him, and he made a mistake at that moment and did not watch the monster hunter behind him. Lao Tian turned around and wants to know why the hunter is making sounds, and he is a slacker and does not want to help Master Lao find friends, and he is annoying. But suddenly Lao Tian noticed a monster behind him, and he fell for the deception, and the enemies were caught off guard. And fortunately, he saw the monster in time. The monster opened its mouth and told Lao Tian to stay there and become its food, and the master fell to the ground and was so shocked he couldn't move. Lao Tian is terrified and begs for help and salvation, but the monster continues to walk towards him and has evil intentions, and the master is powerless in battle. And then Lao Tian saw someone's silhouette and he lost hope, and thought that no one remained in the tower. But it seems his prayers were answered there, and at that very moment the warrior lady struck the monster with all her might, and she would not allow the monster to harm the old man, and in vain their enemy attacked the master. The lady has inflicted serious injuries on the monster, and she will not spare the monster, and he has decided his own fate, and it is important not to lose concentration in the tower. Lao Tian noticed the face of the monster next to him, and it flew back a couple of meters from the powerful blow of the warrior lady, and he admired her power. Lao Tian saw a sharp sword next to the monster's face, and it seems the hero arrived in time and punished the monster with the sword, and Lao Tian was not harmed. Lao Tian thanked the warriors very much, and they saved his life, and without their help, he would have died, and the monster was ready to attack the hunter. One of the warriors stands on the monster's body and tells Lao Tian that there is no need to thank him, and that he is always happy to destroy dangerous monsters in the tower. The warrior said Lao Tian is just a low-level demon, and it is not difficult for him to punish werewolf demons, and he has a lot of experience in fighting. Lao Tian picked up the dagger and told the hero savior that this dagger of his was a C-class, and it was worth a lot of money, and the hero was obliged to take the sword back. But the demon hunter told Lao Tian that he didn't need the dagger, and that Lao Tian could keep the sword for himself, and that the master was obliged to train in combat. Lao Tian thought that even though it was a C-class dagger, it was still a weapon, and he had no right to complain about anything, and the warrior immediately saved him from death. Lao Tian knows that among the equipment of this level, the dagger is the most expensive, and the blade seems to be more expensive than even B-class, and he was lucky to find warriors. Two monster hunters noticed others in the tower, and people asked which squad these two were from, and they don't remember them, and are probably freeloaders. The hunter pointed his finger at the two of them, and entered through their key and had to pay them, otherwise they would take all his things, and no one would joke with him. But the demon hunter told me to thank him for even entering the tower, otherwise the tower would have become their grave, and they would have no chance. The fighters from the Black Cat Demon Hunter squad are furious at the words of the impudent hunter, and what he allows himself, and seems to have underestimated everyone. The hunters are shocked by the impudent man's words, and for that they are obliged to thank the bastard, and they will finish him off, and this will serve as a lesson, and he will answer them. But Master Lao Tian ran to his colleagues and immediately ordered them to stop the conflicts, and the fighters asked Master Lao Tian what was going on there. The fighters asked Master Lao Tian if he was in his right mind, and if Lao Tian knew this guy who humiliated all their friends and acted like an idiot. Lao Tian was agitated and told his colleagues that they didn't understand anything, and that he had a C-class dagger in his hands. But the warrior didn't even look at this weapon. The fighters are completely shocked by the words of Master Lao Tian and ask him not to talk nonsense, and if a stranger does not need a C-class sword, how cool is the fighter? But at that very second, the hunters began to run away with all their might and beg for help. And a horde of monsters was approaching them, and how to escape from the reptiles. Lao Tian asks the Black Cat Demon Hunter Squad not to run and panic, but to defend themselves from the monsters, and they are obliged to fight them. The monsters continue to follow the hunters, and they have penetrated the tower, and they will release the people from there and make them suffer for their actions. The warrior exhaled and he ran into monsters, and training would clearly not hurt him, and he must be in shape and develop his tower fighting skills. The monsters attacked the warrior in a crowd, and he told the monsters that they were all miserable rabble and that they had come to the warrior in vain and that he would teach the enemies a lesson. The warrior began to cast a spell and ordered his warriors to go out and beat all the monsters, and why the monsters decided that they could attack the hunter. The warrior bit off his finger, and he is serious, and Master Lao Tian was right to stay in the tower and not run away, and he will appreciate the warrior's skills and understand everything. The hunter used the technique and put a seal with his finger on the talisman, and in this tower there are no equal opponents, and all these monsters are so weak. The fighter used the 9 drops of 100 demons technique and ordered hundreds of warriors to come out. And at that moment, skeleton warriors appeared in the tower. The warrior continues to summon hundreds of warriors, and they are not afraid of anyone, and he is absolutely ready to fight monsters, and warming up will not stop them. The hunter ordered hundreds of warriors to go forward, and together they will destroy the monsters and drive them into a corner. And it is so important to find out who is the master in the tower. The monsters saw a bright glow in front of them, and the warrior instantly summoned strong warriors, and they don't have a single chance to defeat him, and he is strong. And at that very moment, an explosion thundered in the tower, and hundreds of warriors destroyed their opponents without any problems, and the monsters were unable to defend themselves from their attacks. Lao Tian covered his face, and the shockwave from the attack of hundreds of warriors hit him, and he did not think that the stranger was such a powerful hunter. Master Lao Tian opened his eyes, and he was completely shocked by the sight, and the warrior presented surprises and never thought that he would call hundreds of warriors. The stranger warrior began to collect the energies and attributes of the monsters, and he knew the outcome of the battle. But Master Lao Tian still did not understand how this was possible. The fighters say it's unreal, and the paper figures turned into the army of the Kingdom of Darkness, and this warrior is a master of seals, and he is very cool. The stranger warrior told the fighters that he would only take the core and energy of the monsters there, but they could share the equipment, and that he was not a greedy man. The stranger warrior continues to collect energy from monsters and knows that in such situations many fighters lose concentration, and this is dangerous. The warrior stranger created a core by collecting the energy of monsters in his hand, and he is not in vain busy with this matter, and his assistant is obliged to receive it all. The warrior stranger asked the assistant to open her mouth and handed her the core, and he cares about her health, and will never let anyone hurt her, and they are colleagues. The hunters said this lady eats an energy core, and is she really a Draugr? The squad members are 100% sure she is a premium Draugr. All the squad members said that Draugr are the ones who appear when the awakened die in the tower and beg the boss Lao Tian to answer. Lao Tian himself doesn't know how the warrior stranger raised the Draugr and the Draugrs with defects on the black market, and how many cores he fed to this one. Now Lao Tian understands why the warrior stranger only needs cores and the pet needs to be fed, and therefore he finds food for her in the towers. But at that moment, the squad's fighters heard an explosion in front of them, and they were confused, and they thought the tower was already safe, but the fighters were wrong. The hunters are terrified, and what is happening in the tower? Didn't the stranger warrior kill all the monsters there, and maybe it's just that the tower's seals have weakened? The warrior asked the fighters what seals were, and they didn't know the rules and why they entered the C-class tower, and this horde of monsters woke up the tower boss. The fighters bow and beg the warrior to save them, and the warrior said that it seems his destiny is to be a handsome hero, and he will take everything according to the old scheme of the core. The warrior stranger told Yuan Yuan's assistant that they would go together and take a look at the cave boss and find out how dangerous he is, and this is an intrigue. The warrior stranger and Yuan Yuan entered the cave and noticed the cobwebs, and many people were doomed, and it seems the boss of the tower is strong and cunning. The tower boss asked the stranger warrior if he really dared to wake her up, and where did the warrior get so much impudence from, and she wouldn't understand him. The spider tower boss rushed towards the stranger warrior, and she will create a beautiful cocoon from the warrior, and in vain he entered the tower and he infuriates her. The warrior stranger said, Yuan Yuan from the enemy spider is not an easy enemy, and she has no skills but her mouth does not close, and it is funny and he will surprise her. The spider tower boss wants to attack the stranger warrior, and he penetrated her tower and killed all the monsters, and she will not forgive the enemy and take his life. The stranger warrior took out a paper figure and everything is under control. He is not afraid of the Spider Tower boss and already has a brilliant plan for the battle. The warrior stranger uses the death seal technique, and the tower boss is already trapped and will not be able to hide anywhere, and she was unlucky to meet him. The warrior stranger pointed the figurine towards the Spider Tower boss, and he does not lose concentration so that the spider does not deal a sneaky blow from behind. The figure began to suck the Spider Tower boss into itself, and it cannot move, and the warrior stranger paralyzed the enemy with a strange technique. The warrior stranger broke the figurine, and the technique is flawless, and the Spider Tower boss is doomed, and he will not spare the enemy and will make him feel all the pain. And at that very second, there was a roar and an explosion next to the tower boss, and the stranger warrior is not worried, and his tactics and strategy did not fail. The Spider Tower boss has lost all her energy and is unable to fight back against the stranger warrior, and he caught her off guard and was able to take her life with technology. The Spider Tower boss fell to the ground and showed no signs of life, and the fighters could calm down and were not in any danger, and the handsome hero saved them. The squad's fighters said the tower is changing and the seal is actually broken, and it looks like the boss is defeated and the stranger warrior is their protector and loves the hero. But the squad's fighters noticed an important detail. If the boss is dead, why is everything around still so creepy and the tower doesn't disappear and it's all so strange? The stranger warrior told the squad's fighters that this is why he told them not to climb into the towers blindly, and there is a reason why the tower did not disappear. The stranger warrior told the squad's fighters that the reason the tower didn't disappear was because there was another tower inside the tower. And that was a fact. The stranger warrior started pushing the wall and it immediately cracked, and the warrior is not worried. And this means he is 1000% right in his belief. And at that very moment, the wall broke. And the stranger warrior hopes that all the fighters of the detachment will not lose consciousness, and he believes in their talents and power. Master Lao Tian is in complete shock. And there really is a tower within a tower, and he asks the stranger warrior who he is, and asks him to answer his questions. The warrior stranger spread his arms out to the sides and said to Lao Tian, "He is the one who released all the monsters and the one because of whom the world became like this, and it is true." The stranger warrior told the squad's fighters that if they valued their lives, he advised them not to follow them, otherwise he would immediately take action against the fighters. The fighters want to enter the tower rather than tremble outside, and they have to take risks and the danger level is extreme, but they will all get rich overnight, Lao Tian decided, and judging by the previous monsters, there might be rare resources in the tower, and if they are lucky, the profit will be 10 times greater. Master Lao Tian pointed his finger and told the fighters that they would all go to the tower and that there was a stranger warrior with them, and he would be able to protect them. The Black Cat. Demon hunters asked the fat man not to interfere with their getting rich, but the fat man is afraid of heights and asks everyone not to rush him. A stranger warrior hears how the hunters of a hunting party are constantly arguing and want to push the weak one, and the warrior is amazed by their behavior. The warrior stranger lit a cigarette and realized that people die for money and birds for food, and these are the laws of life, and self-interest creates chaos in thought. The warrior stranger realized that so many years had passed, and the tower was still not perfect, and how difficult it was to convince people and they were stubborn idiots. 15 years ago, on an ordinary day, towers of bizarrely shaped spirits fell from the sky to the earth, and the warrior remembers everything. The towers had from 1 to 8 levels. The higher the level, the more dangerous the tower. And with their appearance, the world plunged into chaos. And this is true. And only one 9-level tower arose in an ordinary village. And this influenced the course of events and decided the fate of 2 children of the village. The children came to a place where entry was prohibited and told Suji that this was where he was hiding from them, and they would not let him go anywhere and came up with a task. The hooligans said that Suji always boasts that he is the favorite disciple of the owner of the spiritual amulet shop, and ordered Su to touch the spirit tower. Zhao Yuanyuan hid behind Suja and asked him not to listen to these hooligans and said, "The towers are dangerous and you can't even go near them." The hooligans told Suja that if a friend dared to touch the spirit towers, they would never touch Zhao Yuanyuan and guarantee Suja. Suja decided that he couldn't allow the bully Wang Chang and his stupid gang to mock him, and if he touched the tower, they would leave Yuan alone. Suja is serious and went towards the tower, and it is a ruin. And what is so scary there, and he will prove the hooligans. They are wrong. And that is a fact. Suji approached the spirit pacifying tower and touched it, and only wanted to protect Zhao Yuanyuan from the attacks of hooligans, and he would protect his sister. Suja froze in shock and did not understand why the tower door opened there by itself and he did nothing, and therefore it was strange and frightening to him. Suja saw a monster in front of him. And was it really true that people warned them all, and that the spirit pacification towers were dangerous, and he checked everything? But when Suja did not expect this, the monster suddenly opened its eyes and began to study the territory and the children who woke it from hibernation. Suja is so shocked he can't move and is definitely paralyzed. But the monster doesn't want to go anywhere, and it looks like the monster already has plans. And at that very moment, the monster entered Suja's head, and the monster found a new victim. And in vain, the young man brazenly approached their tower of pacifying spirits. The hooligans began to quickly flee from the area, and they begged people to save them, and the seal is broken, and the demons burst out and frightened them. People from the village asked Suja's mother not to go there because there are monsters there. But she told people to let her in, and she doesn't care about the dangerous monsters anymore. Mom told her Suja is there and she must find him. But people are asking the lady to save themselves, and Suja is strong and sturdy, and he will definitely save himself. And then monsters appeared in front of Suja's mother, and they were happy because they found delicious food on Earth and no one would distract them from delicious food. Mama Suja listens to the instructions of people, and they are absolutely right, but she feels sorry, and the monsters are very close, and they will not have time to escape from the monster. The monsters destroyed all the houses in the village and took the lives of many. And the monsters have no sense of pity and see people only as lunch and dinner. Suja's mother wanted to give the candy to her son, but she did not notice Suja at that moment, and the mother hopes her angel Suja was not harmed by the attacks. Suja decided that if people do not listen to advice, it is their own fault and he does not intend to persuade them, and he warned them about the danger of the tower. The squad's fighters said the hidden space of the tower is huge, but it's not spacious, and there's no sign of monsters. And why are there so many mirrors in the tower? Suja doesn't advise the fighters to relax. No tower gives out gifts for free, and the higher the reward, the more dangerous it is. And that's the law. Suja told the hunters that the fog was thickening and ordered them to stay close to each other. And if someone died, it was not his problem and he would not protect them. After a while, the hunters fell to the ground and their legs did not move. And the hunters wandered for so long that at least one monster showed up and asked for a rest. The fighter asks Brother Jai to give his friend some water so that he can gain strength and energy to continue on his way, and no one will leave the Black Cat squad on the mission. But suddenly, the squad fighter started shouting, and pointing his finger at Brother Ji, told Master Lao Tian that Brother Ji had disappeared, and that this was clearly mysticism. Master Lao Tian asks the squad's fighters not to panic, and that together they will find a reasonable explanation for the situation so that Brother Chiang could not disappear. But Master Lao Tian is in complete shock because the other fighters of the squad have also disappeared. And what is happening there? And the squad entered the strange tower in vain. Suja noticed Zhao Yuanyuan disappearing and did not understand when he made a mistake and lost sight of her, and he does not know the reason for her disappearance. At that very moment, someone started laughing, and the squad's fighters were afraid, and they were not strong enough to fight the one who stole all their friends. Someone told the squad's fighters that the people were talented and were able to find her hiding place in the tower, and that she had underestimated them in vain. But she would fix the situation. The mirror demon came out to the fighters and asked whether it was worth telling them how lucky they were, or whether it was the other way around and that she hadn't played with people in the tower for a long time. Suja is serious, and he asked the mirror demon where she led the other fighters, and if she doesn't answer the question, she will have problems. The mirror demon told Suja that she ate others and that humans are tastier than demons. And why is the warrior stranger Su so worried about the other fighters? The squad of demon hunters began to suffer, and the demons of the mirrors are glad, and the faces of people before death make her happy, and she wants to catch everyone there. Master Lao Tian was horrified and asked the mirror demon if all these people were dead, and he didn't believe that the fighters couldn't fight back against the demon. The mirror demon took the yin-yang mirror in her hands, and there she will teach a lesson to the impudent demon hunters who are already going to the towers only for profit. And then a mirror appeared in front of each hunter, and they were surprised and what the vile demon of mirrors was doing, and they did not know how to fight her. Master Lao Tian almost fell when he noticed his daughter in the mirror, and how she appeared there, and the mirror demon manipulates everyone. The daughter asked Lao Tian if her father didn't recognize her, and if it weren't for his decision, she would still be alive, and he was to blame for all the troubles. Master Lao Tian told his daughter that he was to blame for everything and asked her to forgive her father. And then the father had no choice, but he loves his daughter very much. Suzhou noticed his mother's silhouette in the mirror, and this couldn't be true, and she died many years ago. But he always dreamed that his mother would return. Mom, Uncle, and Aunt Sue Ji are happy to see him and ask him to go with them, and they have so many things to do that they didn't have time to do with Sue. Suja is in complete shock and asks his mother how she appeared there, and it is a mystery, and his mother asks Suja for forgiveness for not protecting him then. But Mom told Suja that now she had found him, and she would not abandon him and would protect him from all dangers. And Mom had long wanted to talk to Jay. But suddenly at that moment, Suja's mother became scary, and she again told her son that they both would be together forever, and that his mother wanted to take him away. It wasn't Lao Tian's daughter who appeared in front of him, but a monster that looked like her. And the master decided that he was hallucinating, and it was clearly not his daughter who was in front of him. A squad member screams in fear and sees a flying rat. But how is this possible in the real world, and why don't people know that rats are evil? Suja's heart hurt, and he remembered his mother and other relatives, and he was unable to save them that day, and forever remembered their horrors and screams. The mirror demon said that while a person is alive, there are desires in him, the root of all evil, and it is better to release them along with the flesh by becoming her food there. Suji agrees with the mirror demon 100%, and a person cannot escape from her trap. And people have many desires and emotions, and these are facts. But at that very moment, Zhao Yuanyuan jumped towards the mirror demon, and Suji asked, "What about the Draugr? And they have no emotions and desires." The mirror demon is terrified, and where did the Draugr appear among the people? And she didn't notice her, and the Draugr managed to catch her off guard. And this is a mistake. Zhao Yuanyuan dealt a powerful blow to her opponent, and the mirror demon will be punished for threatening Suji's boss, and the Draugr will not forgive her. Suji told the mirror demon that this technique works well on people, but Draugrs have no consciousness, and by breaking the mirrors, all her illusions disappeared. Suji noticed Master Lao Tian and the other fighters lying on the ground and asked the mirror demon if there were any other tricks to harm them. The mirror demon told Suji that even though he broke her mirror, he asked her not to forget that this is still her tower, and the demon will not let them go and will kill them. Zhao Yuanyuan hit the mirror demon, but she tells the Draugr it's useless, and as long as there are mirrors, she won't catch her and will become her food. The mirror demon asks Suji to tell him what he saw in the mirror, and she is so interested to know his desires and feelings, and it seems that everything is not simple with Su. The mirror demon asks Suji whether he killed these people, or whether they all died because of him, or the warrior doesn't know how they died. And Z is funny. Suji lit a cigarette, and he wanted to fight the mirror demon there fairly, but she never shut up and he warned her so many times. Suji is angry and told the mirror demon that if she loves mirrors so much, he will destroy them all and wants to know what she is capable of without special mirrors. The mirror demon laughs and asks Suji what kind of angry tone the fighter has and whether he will really ask his Draugr to break the mirrors, and she found out the plan. Suji asked the mirror demon if she thought he wanted to break her mirrors, and he guaranteed that in the end there wouldn't be a single fragment left of her. Suji uses the wind technique, and he turns the wind into an illusory dragon, and the mirror demon regrets that he underestimated his opponent's skills. Suji created a huge flow of waves, and the demon of mirrors will not hide, and he will take revenge on her for manipulating his emotions, and he felt everything. Suji continues to break the mirrors with her technique, and the mirror demon clearly won't have time to defend herself from all the serious attacks, and she angered the warrior. Suji asks Zhao Yuanyuan to use the talisman in battle, and she already agrees with her brother, and use the shape-shifting talisman, and this is important. Zhao Yuanyuan uses the lightning summoning talisman to protect her brother Suji from a dangerous opponent, and they will defeat the mirror demon. The mirror demon is perplexed and asks Suji what he wants to do in battle, and she doesn't know what techniques the warrior used, and everything is strange. Suji is serious and told the mirror demon that he wants to kill her, and she lost her concentration when she didn't consider him an equal in battle. Suji asks Zhao Yuanyuan to use the lightning talisman again, and they cornered the mirror demon, and she is doomed to collapse, and this is a success. Zhao Yuanyuan struck all the demon mirrors with lightning and boss. Suji came up with a brilliant plan, and his strategy astounds the fighters. Zhao Yuanyuan grabbed the mirror demon by the throat, and Suji told the enemy that she had been caught and that she had been mistaken in thinking that he was a weak enemy. Suji used a high-level talisman, and Z hoped the mirror demon core was worth it. Otherwise, he would have defeated her without any special technique. The mirror demon said to Su, Jay, he summoned a hurricane to collect all the mirrors and then used lightning heat to melt them, and he is cool. But the mirror demon repeats, and this is her tower. And Suji did not understand the truth of her words and why he is so confident in himself, and the mirror demon is alive. Suddenly, the mirror demon rushed towards Suji, and with such strength, he is definitely worthy of becoming her vessel, and with his body she will receive the boss's recognition. The mirror demon dealt a powerful blow to Suji, and Zhao Yuanyuan didn't have time to protect the boss, and the demon was cunning and made Su's boss suffer. Suji screams and the mirror demon wants to penetrate the warrior's mind, and he will help her become even stronger, and his fighting skills are on another level. The mirror demon noticed how there was another monster in Suji's brain and how it lived, and she didn't know about its secret and what else the warrior Jay was hiding. The mirror demon looks at the monster in Suji's brain and where he got the monster, and it seems to be connected to his brain, and she wants to understand Su's secret. The mirror demon had already seen the word disaster in one of the eyes of the monster from Suji's brain. And it seemed that because of this, Suji was not afraid of her, and this was clear. And then someone said good evening to the mirror demon, and she was expecting guests and wanted to discuss important details with her and why she got into Su's brain. The lady told the mirror demon to see a monster there. It was a surprise. And she made her happy, and now they can solve all the problems, and this is important. The mirror demon listens to the lady's words and how someone appeared behind her, and she watched the area. But it seems that everything is not simple and it is dangerous there. And at that very second, without thinking twice, the mirror demon began to attack the lady who appeared in Suji's consciousness, and the demon will punish the lady. But the lady told the mirror demon that such an attack would not harm her, and asked the demon to stand still and that she was not her equal, and no one would harm her there. The lady tied up the mirror demon with her tongue, and she smells so good and she's so lucky, but the mirror demon begs the lady to spare her, and she'll leave. But at that very moment, the lady ate the mirror demon, and she will not spare anyone, especially the one who penetrated Suji's mind, and the demon made a mistake. The lady is delighted, and it's incredible, and the demon of mirrors pleases her, and her taste is incomparable, and she wants many demons to come there. Suju appeared behind the lady and asked the lady who she was, and it seemed she had destroyed the mirror demon without any problems, and they should have expected this. Suji asked the monster why she had arranged a feast in his head, and she got out of the tower in his head, and the mirror demon disturbed her there. The lady said good afternoon to Suji, and she wants to introduce herself, and she is Hey-Ho Black Disaster, and is glad that Suja himself came to her lair. Hey-Ho told Suja that he was lucky that he activated the special heavenly tower, but he only had 3 days to live, and Suja had to find out everything. Suja was confused and asked Hey-Ho what the Black Disaster meant. He had 3 days left and would he die in 3 days, and that was strange. Suja told Hey-Ho the Black Disaster. He can't exceed his level because of the heavenly tower, and he doesn't have a lady, and it's too early for him to die. Black Calamity told Suja that she didn't care about his personal life, and if it wasn't sealed there, he wouldn't have the strength and energy. Hey-Ho told Suja that if he hadn't always killed monsters, he would have died long ago from exhaustion from the tower. But Suja survived and was able to awaken her. Hey-Ho said her appetite is huge, and she will suck out Suja's spiritual power in 3 days, but Suji asks Hey-Ho to promote the boss to C rank. Hey-Ho Black Disaster said to Suji that with such a weak body he won't be able to withstand her strength, and if Suji dies, how will she absorb the energy like that? Suja thought he could become stronger, but the Black Disaster was nothing, and he would give in and destroy them both, and he lost hope of becoming stronger. Hey-Ho Black Disaster stood up from her seat and told the boss that his temper was hot-tempered, and her strength would definitely cause Suji to have a negative reaction. Black Calamity said to Suji, if he wants to get her power, the boss needs to at least reach A rank, and he wants to cure the Draugr. Suja is shocked, and is Hey-Ho really talking about Zhao Yuanyuan, and thought that turning into a Draugr is irreversible, and is there a cure? Black Calamity told Suja that nothing is impossible in this world, and when he becomes stronger, Hey-Ho will tell him how to cure Yuanyuan. Black Disaster said to Suji, the stronger his desire, the higher the price. And Suji 100% agrees with Hey-Ho and does not want to argue. Black Calamity told Suja that she was interested and that she would thank Suja for waking her up and that he did not destroy both of them and saved her life. Black Calamity gave Suja a talisman, and this will help him level up, and the boss must always believe in his potential, and this is important. Suja asked the Black Calamity why her talisman looked so strange, and Hey-Ho said the talisman contained part of her powers and energy. Black Calamity asked Suja to use the talisman when the boss is in danger, and her powers will help him defeat all enemies. The Black Calamity told Little Sue not to dare to die, and he is now obliged to take care of himself and not take risks during battles, and she is always with him. The Black Cat Demon. Hunter Squad continues to wake up the warrior, Suji, and finally he woke up and he did not respond to their words and screams. Suji asked if he had lost consciousness, and the fighters told the boss that he had scared them, and when the fighters came to their senses, Suja stood there motionless. Master Lao Tian told warrior Suja that this was the core that remained from the mirror demon, and he wanted to give it and saved it, especially for the leader. Suja took the core of the mirror demon, and Master Lao Tian said that there were only 2 people left in the squad and the others had failed the mission, and it was terrible. Master Lao Tian told Suja that the 2 of them would not earn enough money to pay the taxes and wanted to invite Suja's leader to join their squad. But Suja told Master Lao Tian that he refuses and does not want to join their squad, and that he has a lot of his own things to do and does not have time to go on missions with them. Master Lao Tian understands, and such a strong master as Su Jay would definitely not join a squad like theirs, and he single-handedly defeated everyone. Suja told Master Lao Tian that if they needed money, there was a plan, and he would explain everything, and hoped Lao Tian would understand that he wanted to help them. Suja told the squad's fighters that they could enter the towers with him, but not expect him to protect them, and that everyone in the towers was on their own. Master Lao Tian is in complete shock and is the warrior, Suja not joking, and did not expect that his friend has a kind heart, and Z helped the squad fighters a lot. Lao Tian grabbed Suja's leg, and the warrior told the fighters that if they needed to get money, they could go with the warrior Su to the Demon Suppression Bureau. The fighter asked Master Lao Tian who the Draugrs are, and why they all eat crystal cores, and he is very interested to know all the data. Master Lao Tian listens to the fighters' words, and he is new to their squad and does not know much important information, but Uncle Lao will tell the whole truth. Master Laotian said that when the towers appeared, many people began to enter the towers and did not suspect that it was dangerous there and that this was their mistake. People thoughtlessly entered the towers and thought they would be rich, and no one would stop them from achieving success and wanted to get ahead of other people. As a result, people received countless resources and wealth from the towers, and some even awakened spiritual power and became hunters. But people didn't suspect how dangerous it was in the towers and didn't listen to the advice of smart people and wanted to make money the easy way, and that's terrible. During this madness, many people became cannon fodder, and after death they turned into monsters controlled by the tower. And those who mastered spiritual power after death, their minds were already corrupted by the tower, and they became draugrs. And draugrs are immortal dolls of the tower. Master Laotian asks, not to worry about Yuan, and the draugrs are cruel by nature. But when they find a master who feeds them, they change. Maintaining a human-like draugr isn't easy. There are no more than 3 cores in one tower, and the higher the rank of the draugr, the more they need. Suji took the talisman, and Master Laotian said it seemed that this draugr was a very important friend for Suja when he was alive, and he understood this. Suja told Zhao Yuanyuan that the shape-shifting talisman was almost destroyed by lightning and asked him to take this talisman and it will cut off Zhao. After some time, the hunters came to the Demon Suppression Bureau, and Master Laotian told Brother Suja about the incredible building of the Bureau, and he was shocked. Suja said, Laotian Bureau manages all guilds and issues rewards and conducts evaluation of hunters, and of course, the Bureau is incredible. The squad fighter asks Master Laotian to look there, and there are so many popular people and he did not expect to see them, and they are lucky today. This is a squad of demon hunters called the Black Crows, and the legend says that their leader single-handedly cleared a rank A tower, and the leader is incredibly strong. The fighter noticed the Midnight Rose squad. All the members of the squad were beautiful women, and did not think that they also came to the Demon Suppression Bureau. Suja asked Zhao Yuanyuan to wait for him there, but the squad fighter did not wait for anyone and went to ask the beautiful ladies for an autograph himself. Zhao Yuanyuan silently listens to the orders of his brother Suji, and they will not go anywhere, and only with him he feels good, and will protect him from their enemies. Suji went to the administrator and he wants to accept a mission at a school for girls, and will be glad if the lady pays a little attention to the fighter. The administrator understood the intentions of the gentleman and asked him to tell her his name and rank, and then he would accept the assignment at the girls' school. And this is true. The demon hunter said his name is Suji, and he has a she rank, and he never gives up and is definitely ready to complete tasks of any difficulty. The administrator was completely shocked to learn Suji's details and told the fighter that this was a B rank task, and whether Mr. Su was sure he wanted this task. Suju asked the administrator why he was worried, and that she wasn't the one who was going there and just asking to give him a task, and he would surprise everyone. The administrator told Suju that he would soon receive the key to the tower, that the tower was almost out of control, and she asked him to go there quickly. The administrator is despondent, and she thought that the fighter Suji is so handsome, but he is going to certain death, and why is the fighter rushing to the level B tower? And then suddenly someone came up to Suja from behind and asked if it wasn't Suja, and he would never forget the image of the fighter and wanted to discuss the details. The guy walks arm in arm with the lady and asked Suji if after so many years he finally reached the she rank, and he is very happy for his friend Zay. Suji listens to the words of the villain, and the guy asked Suja if he wants to join their squad. White Tiger, and the squad takes care of the weak. The guy mocks Suja and asked why he doesn't see Zhao Yuanyuan in the bureau and how he could forget she died, and it's terrible. But at that very moment, Suja stood close to the scoundrel and ordered him to tell Zhao Yuanyuan again, and he would know all of Suja's anger and let him take a risk. Suja quickly walked towards the bastard with the talisman in his hand and asked the idiot if he wanted to die, and he would arrange everything and not spare the bastard. The guards pointed a gun at Suja and ordered him to stop and not attack his opponent in the bureau building, and Mr. violates their rules. The guards surrounded the fighter and told Suju that fighting was prohibited in the bureau and ordered him to immediately drop the talisman or else Zai would get into trouble. The Black Cat Demon Hunter is shocked by the leader Suju's actions and who provoked him to attack, and the opponent is to blame for everything. The scoundrel asked Suji whether he heard the guard's order and ordered him to remove his talisman, or whether the guards would forcibly escort Suji to the exit. Suja hit the scoundrel with his shoulder and said he was useless trash and incapable of anything coherent, and the guy got angry and asked Su what he said. The demon hunter is furious at Suji's actions and will soon take revenge on the bastard for his impudent behavior and make him beg for mercy and guarantee. The hunter came to the administrator in anger and said that his squad of white tigers wanted to take on a mission at a school for girls and ordered everyone to be brought in. The demon hunter is delighted, and this time Suja is a corpse, and he will not hide anywhere from the white tiger squad, and they will attack the idiot from behind. But when the hunter did not expect it, Zhao Yuanyuan kicked him in the face with all her might, and his sister will not allow him to harm her brother Suji. Suji told the enemy that his face screamed that he had not resigned himself to anything, and if he had enough courage he could come to the school and they would find out everything. Suji asked the scoundrel if he heard his words and told him to remember them, and not to forget that Suji and Zhao Yuanyuan could already strike. The demon hunter from the White Tiger squad already agrees with brother Su. Zhao 1000% and he will not interfere with them, and will come to school. The hunter wondered if this wasn't Zhao Yuanyuan, and she died and maybe Suji saved her, but that's impossible and he remembers all the events. The hunter realized that these were soul-blocking beads and a soul suppression spell, which meant that Zhao Yuanyuan had turned into a draugr, and that was terrible. The hunter hit the jackpot, and a draugr like Zhao Yuanyuan will fetch a lot of money on the black market and he is obliged to report the information to the boss. The hunter started yelling at the guard, and didn't he see how he was attacked and why he was standing there? But they only resolve conflicts between hunters. The assistant asked Sister Qin Ziyun if this was the hunter she always talked about, and she was interested in finding out the fighter's information. The leader of the Jinrong Hunter Squad, Qin Ziyun, has been looking at Suji, and she has long wanted to meet him. And his potential amazes the lady. The assistant stands next to Sister Qin Ziyun and said that the fighter looks like a bandit, and doesn't she think that he is hiding information from everyone? Qin Ziyun told her assistant that her assessment was accurate, and the hunter was definitely a bandit, and she wanted to know something about Suji and that he was an unusual hunter. Jinrong Squad Leader Qin Ziyun approached the administrator and she has questions and hopes the administrator will answer everything honestly. The administrator said, "Good afternoon, miss," and Qin Ziyun asked what Suji was doing at the bureau and that he doesn't just come and she knows it. The administrator told Miss Qin Ziyun that she is right about everything and Z just accepted a job at a girls' school and is not afraid of anyone. Qin Ziyun was shocked and asked the administrator if Suji was not a she-rank and why did they let him go and it was a dangerous mission. The administrator said there is a rule, and if the hunter himself insists on the task, they have no right to leave him, and the leader, the White Tiger, also went. But Qin Ziyun told the administrator that she should go to the school herself and find out Suji's condition and whether he was harmed by the monsters. In the evening, Suji came to the address, and he is not afraid of monsters and Zhao Yuanyuan is always next to him and she will protect her brother in case of danger. Suji told the soldiers that the barrier at the entrance to the tower was very unstable, and it was not for nothing that he volunteered for this mission and wanted to make sure of the tower's condition. Lao Tian asked brother Suda if they could come a little later, and the hunter said they would collect what they needed and not disturb the boss. Suja told the Black Cat Squad fighters they could do whatever they wanted, and they went with him themselves, and no one was forcing them both to go into the tower. Suja walked towards the portal and he would enter the tower, and no one would stop him from completing the task and collecting food for Zhao Yuanyuan. Suja entered the portal and assessed the situation on the territory and noticed that the building and everything were under the control of the tower, and he would fix the situation soon. Suja told Zhao Yuanyuan that the tower's energy was leaking out and they needed to act quickly and there was no time to waste, so he took up the matter. Suja told Zhao Yuanyuan it was time to get B-rank cores, and he would not let his sister starve and would find a lot of cores and feed her. And at that moment, a school student appeared in front of Suji and Zhao Yuanyuan, and she continues to walk towards them, and she is not afraid of anyone. Suji said that this is a student of the school, and the B-rank towers are really so different from others and they are incredible. And it was not for nothing that he accepted the task. A school student is not looking well and she goes to Suji for help and hopes that someone can help her in trouble and is lucky to meet him. Suji noticed a lady dressed in the uniform of this school, and it seems that the students have been influenced by the tower and the hero is obliged to help her with the problem. But at that very moment, the student's face changed, and in the B-level towers all hunters have to be very careful, and there are so many monsters there. And at that very moment the student became a monster and rushed at Suji, and she wants to appreciate the hunter's taste. And well, they themselves came to the beast. Suji looks at the student and says that her face is so-so, but her figure and shoulders are incredible, and she could become a supermodel, and he is not lying to her. The student started using the technique and it will break the hunter. And why did they decide that they could come to their tower and take all the valuables? Suji understood. And judging by the student's movements, this is not just a doll. This tower is more interesting than he expected, and he is pleasantly surprised by the surprises. Suji took out the talisman and asks the monster to let him know who she really is, and he tries to help her, and the hunter does not care. Suji sent a lot of talismans at the monster, and she is doomed, and she has no plan to escape. And why then is she running to him? And it is so strange. The monster almost caught up with Suji, but he is not nervous and he has fought with monsters so many times in his life that he is immune to battles with them. But this monster is ferocious and will not let the hunter go and believes that he will grab and make him suffer. And in vain, Suji underestimated her skills and she is strong. As Suji thought, This monster is a yaksha, and they transform into others and can dissolve into the void to dodge attacks, and these are facts. Suji is amazed, and he just entered the tower and saw the yaksha. But yakshas usually take the form of strong creatures, and why the form of a student? Suji shut the mouth of the yaksha monster and ordered Zhao Yuanyuan to quickly and without further ado deal with the monster, and he would think over all the actions. Zhao Yuanyuan jumped towards the opponent, and the yaksha monster will not hide anywhere, and it was not worth attacking Suji's brother, and she will punish her. Suji expected this, and yaksha can't always use the skill, and she has many weaknesses, and he wants to explore their skills sooner. At this time, another monster sits on the roof of the house and watches the fight between Suji and the student. And this hunter has enormous strength and energy, and he is cool. The monster told the handsome hunter that she wants him to become her slave, and with his skills they will become much stronger and defeat all enemies. The monster opened the can, and she has a brilliant plan, and she will capture the hunter Suji, and many hunters are afraid to come to the level B tower. The monster freed the mosquito goo, and she trusts her assistant to complete the task for her, and she has no doubt in the potential of the mosquito goo. Mosquito goo flew towards the hunter. Suji and the monster asked Goo not to be afraid and to quickly make the hunter Suji her slave, and he will help her. At this time, Suja is watching the yaksha student and does not suspect that the mosquito goo is flying behind him, and he is in a dangerous situation, and this is true. At this moment, the yaksha jumped towards Suji, and the monster wants to kill the hunter, and he irritates them, and entered the B-level tower alone. And who is he? Suji told the monster that he had finally shown his true form and how stubborn she was, and even after beating her, she decided to attack the hunter. Suji managed to dodge and defend himself from the monster's attack and said her previous form looked much better, and the student was beautiful. But Suji told the monster it didn't matter, and told the monster to give the core and he wouldn't torture her, and everyone knows that he is much stronger than the monster. Suja tied up the monster and she won't go anywhere, and he must get her core, and then Zhao Yuanyuan will gain strength and energy, and this is important. And at that very second, an explosion thundered, and Suja blew up the talismans and left no chance for the yaksha monster, and she attacked an unequal opponent. Suja took out the core and was lucky that the core survived the explosion, and the fighter calculated everything, and his intelligence is on a different level, and that's why he is strong. But when Suja did not expect this, the mosquito goo bit the hunter on the neck when he lost concentration and did not control anything. The monster said she was also lucky, and now the hunter belongs to her, and he lost concentration in time and was distracted by the yaksha monster there. Mosquito goo quickly flew out of the dangerous distance, and the hunter will definitely not notice her and will not harm her. And the boss herself will take care of the hunter Suji. Zhao Yuanyuan stands in front of Suja and is surprised that her brother has changed and why he doesn't react to her movements, and the monster did something to him. The monster is so happy, and she caught one and got the second hunter as a gift, and luckily they came alone and won't be able to call for help. Suja and Zhao Yuan listened to the monster's words, and she said that with their help she could enter the tower and no one could defeat her. The monster told the handsome hunter that he looked great and she didn't want to hurt him, and they had a lot to do and he wouldn't be bored with her. The monster took the core from Suja's hands, and she will feed Zhao Yuanyuan for it. And she is interested in knowing the character of the beast, and she seems cute to her. The monster put the core into Zhao Yuanyuan's mouth, but suddenly Zhao didn't remain silent and said it was delicious. And she liked the taste of the core, and she recognized it. Suji was so surprised, and this was not a hallucination, and Zhao Yuanyuan can speak again, and it seems that this lady has some special power and skills. The lady asked Suji and Zhao Yuanyuan to follow her, and told a very handsome hunter that if he follows her, he will become rich, and that is a fact. At this time, the White Tiger Squad arrived at the tower in the girls' school, and a colleague told the boss that this tower is creepy, and should everyone go there? The leader of the White Tiger Squad, Hibao, told his colleague that this place is perfect, and they can get rid of Suji without anyone knowing their plans. The hunter told the boss that Zhao Yuanyuan hit him, and they should not be underestimated, and if she is so strong, Suji is probably not weaker. But boss Hibao told his colleague that it was because he was weak, and the Draugrs became stronger by eating cores, and they didn't chase after ladies like him. Hibao said the price of Draugrs is at its peak again, and they should sell Zhao Yuanyuan and Su. She is stuck at the Shi rank, and he is already a weakling and a coward. Boss. Hibao said that if Suji hadn't exposed his black magic, he wouldn't have been kicked out of the Jinrong Hunter Squad, and he would take revenge on the weakling. At this time, the lady, along with Suji and Zhao Yuanyuan, entered the tower, and she said that there were so many demons there, and they all came to find prey. The lady began to use the technique and said that human greed knows no bounds and she does not want to harm them, but they themselves ran into this. The lady monster released the poison-eating insects and ordered everyone to have a feast, and the boss allows it, and the enemies have already decided their fate. The insects cleared out all the monsters and cleared the way for the boss, and she is 100% sure that Hunter Suji will reveal all his talents. The lady ordered the monsters to become food for her insects, and they have not dined for a long time, and this is a gift for them, and they will not spare any of the monsters. Suji thought it was good and the lady would save a lot of his talismans and how nice it was to do nothing, and he was happy with the result and it was cool. The lady destroyed all the monsters and they will not interfere with her plans. And she follows the strategy, and the demon hunters obediently follow her there. There are a lot of cocoons in the ceiling, and the lady monster wants to understand where the cocoons come from. And she doesn't know a lot of important information, and this is a revelation for the boss. Lady Monster is confused about what these cocoons are, and never knew about demons that spin cocoons and maybe modified animals. The Lady Monster ordered the handsome hunter to remove the cocoons from the ceiling. But Suji lit a cigarette and told the Lady Monster that he couldn't fly. The lady is in complete shock, and can a hunter speak? And Z said he is not mute, and did she really think that a drop of poison would affect him? Suji whispered in Zhao Yuanyuan's ear and told her to punish the monster as usual and teach her a lesson for trying to manipulate them. Suji told the monster that she wanted to get into his head but failed in all attempts, and her pathetic attempt is not even worth thinking about, and this is a collapse. But suddenly the lady monster grabbed Mr. Suji's leg and asked for forgiveness for everything, and she wanted him to help her save the poor students. Hunter Suji took out the talisman and told the lady monster that he was focused on other things and was not interested in saving people and that he didn't care. But the lady monster told Mr. Suji that if he helps her, she will fulfill any of his requests without any problem and guarantee the boss the result. But Suji asked the monster lady to be mentally prepared, and if these cocoons are really students, then it is better to give up and they will not be able to help. The lady monster is terrified and it's impossible. And this can't be. And the tower appeared out of nowhere right in the school and all the students didn't have a chance. But when no one expected it, the cocoon began to move, and Suji is ready for surprises, and he and the lady monster must be more careful in battle. A monster began to emerge from the cocoon, and Suji watches her and learns what special monsters are capable of, and who created them, and so many questions. And at that moment, the Canara monster emerged from the cocoon, and they carry out all the orders of the master and will remove any opponent from the path in a couple of minutes. Suji asked the monster lady if these were the students she was looking for, but she said they were not the students and they all needed to be careful. Suji took out the talisman and he is serious, and will defeat the monsters, and they will not harm Zhao Yuanyuan's sister, and she is under her brother's protection. Suji is already using the technique. And this is Heaven and Earth, Reverse, Dungeon of Flame, Roar of the Fire, God. The beginning of the Oath of the Four Cardinal Directions and their Wrath. Suji uses the Fire Monkey Talisman, and it will create chaos in the enemy's territory and will not allow dangerous monsters to injure his sister. The monster Canara attacks the hunter. Suji and something shines from her mouth, and she uses forbidden techniques and will not leave the enemy alive there. Suji noticed how the monster Canara dispelled his technique with an attack, and he was unable to harm her, and did not expect that she was capable of these techniques. The Canara monster continues to emerge from the cocoon, and Suji is trapped, and he will not overcome them in battle. And there are many monsters, and they are all powerful fighters. Suji said the monsters had just hatched, and were already so strong, and he was surprised and his talisman was useless. But the lady decided to help Su's friend. But when Suji and Zhao Yuanyuan were not expecting it, someone asked if they should intervene in their conflict, and it seems they are all busy fighting. Frank from the Black Boar Squad told his colleague not to interfere with them and asked him to watch the battle, and then they would take all the attributes. A colleague told Frank that meant they didn't need to do anything. And Frank told him the Canaras were strong and the hunters wouldn't be able to handle the monsters in battle. A colleague asked Frank if the other hunters couldn't defeat the Canaras, would they be able to handle it themselves, and their leader wasn't there and they were weakened. And that was a fact. Frank told his colleague that they just needed to gather information, and the leader said that there was definitely something in this tower connected to these monsters. Suji and Lady Monster are analyzing the situation, and Frank said that the lady is beautiful, and if she loses, they will give the lady to their colleagues for games. Suji is nervous and asks the monster lady to be careful, and she is in danger there, and Canara caught her off guard and wants to grab them. Suji noticed how he himself was trapped, and while worrying about the lady monster, he forgot about himself, and Canara entangled him in a cocoon with a web. The monster lady screams and asks the hunter, Suji, not to push, and why the monster Canara tied them into one cocoon, and she doesn't know how to escape. Suji told the lady monster that she was absolutely right, and that the cocoon was cramped, and he couldn't move at all, and his arms and legs were paralyzed. The lady monster is in complete shock, and told the handsome hunter that her clothes are melting in the cocoon, and the web has a special composition, and she is ashamed of this situation. Suji is excited and asks the monster lady not to touch him, and they are both a centimeter away from each other, and there is no need to make any sudden movements in the cocoon. Suji and the lady monster can't get out of the web, and Canara already has many techniques and they don't know how to fight back against the monster. The monster lady said something was bothering her, and what kind of weapon the hunter was hiding in his pants. And Suji asked not to touch it and that it was a secret weapon. The monster lady asks Suji to use a secret weapon, but just says it's impossible, and asks her bugs to get a special talisman. Mosquito goo began to take out the talisman from the bag on the belt of the hunter. Suji and Mosquito goo will not abandon the lady monster in trouble and will save her from Canara. Suji said this is a thunder talisman, and the lady monster might be a little hurt from the explosion. But her friend asked her to be patient and they will be saved. Frank told his colleague that those fighters were trapped in a cocoon, and he doesn't think they'll get out of there and asks his colleagues to leave so they won't defeat the enemy. Frank is sorry. And that lady was so beautiful and his friends didn't get her and he wanted to give her away, but maybe they can find another lady to play with. But when they least expected it, Frank and his friends heard an explosion and the sound of lightning and don't know what's going on there and who caused the mess. Suji was able to get out of the cocoon and they are finally free. But the lady monster is in complete shock and she didn't know that the hunter was so powerful. The monster lady is stuck in a cocoon and asks her friend to help her get out. But the hunter Suji told her to sit there and not disturb him. And this is important. And then hey-ho. The black disaster came out and asked Suji what the noise was about, and it seemed like Canara was nearby and she wanted to suck out her energy. Suji was surprised and asked hey-ho black disaster if she could absorb monsters that were not in his head, and he did not know these facts. The Black Calamity can use Suji's body to absorb the monsters, and she will leave the monsters for the boss, and Suji is glad to help. Suji told Hey-Ho that this Canara is very strong, and his strength is not enough to defeat the monster, and maybe Hey-Ho will put some of his power into his talisman. Hey-Ho Black Disaster said to Suji, with his current energy, he can only use the technique once, and why can't he get her talisman? Suji told Hey-Ho that her talisman is unusual and incredibly powerful, and he doesn't know the side effects of it and he's not willing to take risks there. Hey-Ho Black Disaster agrees with Suji, and when she is ready asks to call her, and she will show the masterclass to the boss and teach the techniques. Suji noticed a group of hunters and asked the rats how long they all wanted to hide there and thought no one would notice them, and that they were all fools. Frank told Suji that he got out of the cocoon after suffering, and that it was a brave act. But is he sure he wants to start fighting with a strong squad? Suji is not at all nervous and lighting a cigarette. She told Frank that he definitely wants to destroy and hates vile rats and idiots. Suji told the hunting party that he didn't even have to do anything, and that he was 100% sure that fate itself would punish the foolish hunters. Frank and his friends laugh at Suji's words, and he is not in the right situation. And it's funny that he dictates his terms and Suji has a lot of his own problems. But the friends froze in place and pointed a finger at someone. Everyone asked Brother Frank to look there, and Frank asked his colleagues what was going on. The motivator of the hunting squad, Frank, turned around and realized that his friends had asked him to look there for a reason, and he did not know how to solve this problem. There is a huge demon standing behind the squad of hunters, and he grabbed Frank's friend and wants to destroy the entire squad, because everyone came to the tower. Suji is pleased and said to Zhao Yuanyuan, "Excellent work," and that his brother has never doubted his sister and trusts her more than anyone else, and that's a fact. Zhao Yuanyuan is happy to help her brother and will carry out all orders, and he protects her everywhere, and she is ready to give her life for the sake of her good brother Xi. Frank told his friends that the enemies had used a demon there and trapped them, but his colleague didn't understand why the monster had attacked their squad there. A colleague asked Frank if the demon shouldn't have immediately attacked the Draugr. But Zhao Yuanyuan stands aside, and the demon doesn't touch her. Suji told the hunting party that he had long noticed that they were hiding nearby, so he gave Zhao Yuanyuan a talisman of stealth for the matter. Suji also said that he gave Zhao Yuanyuan some monster-attracting powder, and the plan was to attract the demon but to prevent it from finding Zhao. Suji told the hunting party that it was a brilliant plan, so that cowards and parasites like them wouldn't interfere with him, and he didn't want to waste his energy on idiots. Frank and his friends told the villain Suji that he had let them down, and when their leader came, he would immediately kill him, and the boss would take revenge for his vile act. Suji told the hunter squad that he doesn't have time to waste on them, and asked them not to lose concentration, and that the squad's opponent is very strong. And at that moment, the monster Canara in its final form appeared in front of Suji and was 100% ready to attack enemies and defend the place. Suji boldly went forward and asked Zhao Yuanyuan not to approach his brother and the monster. Canara is a dangerous opponent, but the brother will protect his sister. Suji told Zhao Yuanyuan that he wanted to test his new move against Canara and hoped the monster would fight back. And it would be interesting to know. And at that very second, Suji called Hey-Ho Black Disaster, and the moment came when she would help him and they would test a special technique there. Hey-Ho Black Disaster told Master Su. She is ready for battle, and it was not in vain that she gave her talisman, and he will see the result of the Hey talisman. Hey-ho, Black Disaster freed her talisman from its shackles, and Suji needs help, and she will not abandon the owner in trouble and will defeat his enemies. Suji uses the Heaven Touches Earth Fire technique, and the monster Canara is unlucky that her first opponent will be the genius Suji. Suji uses the Fire God's spell, Scorching Heat, and Suji will take revenge on the Canara monster for making him nervous back then. And at that very moment, Suji hit the monster Canara with all his might with a technique, and he caught her off guard and no one expected a powerful blow from the fighter. The monster Canara did not have time to move to a safe distance from the opponent's attacks and did not defend herself, and the fighter was sure that he had lured her into a corner. Suji destroyed the Canara monster with one blow, and he clearly expected a different result from the battle, and thought Canara was a dangerous and powerful enemy. The Hunter squad was in complete shock, and Canara was a strong B-rank demon, and Suji defeated her so quickly, even though the fighter clearly had a C-rank aura. Frank began to cry and told his friends to quickly contact the leader, as he was the strongest and would help punish the villain for all his vile deeds. A colleague told Frank that he was trying to contact the leader and didn't want to stay in the tower and that they were in danger and how to escape from the monster. The monster continues to attack the squad of hunters, but they all stand in a protective barrier and are afraid to go out to the enemy, and he frightens and threatens them. Hey-ho, the Black Disaster, smelled a delicious scent and asked her friend Zay to take her to the Canara monster, and Suji said he had no choice. But Hey-ho, Black Disaster is serious, and today she is very hungry, and does the boss understand her condition, and Suji agreed to take. Suji grabbed the monster Canara by the throat and felt how her energy and strength flowed into his body non-stop, and Hey-ho did not deceive him. Suji asked Hey-ho if this was the part of the power that she left him, and the monster Canara had a lot of strength and power in his body. Hey-ho, Black Disaster told Master Su that she is a generous lady, and it is in vain that the boss does not appreciate her so much, and he is lucky that he found her. And it is true. Zhao Yuanyuan saved the monster lady and she thanked her sister and her brother, Su. She forgot about her and did not want to remove the sticky webs. And at that moment, the lady monster noticed a badge on the floor and so wants to know the person's information and who could have dropped the badge in this place. Lady monster recognized this as the badge of Zhu Shu's apprentice and maybe Hunter Su. She is right, and she should test the hypothesis and find out the truth sooner. Lady Monster wondered if the students could really be trapped in the cocoon, and Lady Monster is very worried about the school's students. Lady Monster is curious to know if there is a chance to save the school's students, and Suji's brother must help, and she relies on her friend's intelligence and wit. But Suji told the Lady Monster it was useless, and they would no longer be able to save the school students, and the monsters attacked at the wrong time and caught everyone. Suji told his friends at the moment when the schoolgirls were locked in cocoons that the chance of salvation was gone, and they could not be brought back, and he was not lying to them. Lady Monster is sad to realize that the school students are no longer alive and Suji was wrong, and this is not true, and there must be a way to bring their students back. And at that moment, the ground under the friends' feet began to vibrate, and Suji asked if it was an earthquake, and he didn't know the answer to the question. Suji asked Hey-ho what the Black Disaster was doing, but she had no idea and didn't feel any obvious fluctuations in her aura, which was strange. Suji realized what was going on, and the giant demon wanted to destroy the place, and they had to stop the demon, otherwise they would be left under the rubble. The ground beneath Suji's feet began to crack, and his friends were getting nervous. The demon was out of control, and he needed to be calmed down before it was too late. Suddenly, Suji fell into the hole and asked why him. And Hey-ho, the Black Disaster, told the boss that she liked his screams and groans so much. The monster lady started calling Suji, and she hopes he wasn't hurt from the fall, and why the demon went berserk and is destroying the entire area. Suji asks the monster lady not to worry and he is fine, and Zhao Yuanyuan's sister must protect this lady and he believes in her skills. Hey-ho, Black Disaster felt the powerful aura and true core of this tower below, and Suji told her friend that everything worked out well in the tower. But Hey-ho, Black Disaster told Master Su that he can't handle it, and the boss told his friend it looks like they're finished and there's no way out of this situation. A little earlier, a squad of white tiger hunters captured Lao Tian and his friend, and they said that threatening Suji by capturing them would no longer work. Master Lao Tian and his colleagues said they were both pawns clinging to the warrior Suji's feet, and they only met Suji in the tower today. White Tiger Squad Leader Hibao told Master Lao Tian that he knows, and he needs both of them as sacrifices to awaken the tower boss. Master Lao Tian and his colleague beg Hibao to spare them, and they do not want to die, and can discuss the details and find a compromise in their case. But the hunter from the White Tiger Squad took out a knife and told the old man Tian that he would begin the interrogation with him and teach him a lesson for his impudent attempt to save Suji. And at that very moment, a hunter from the White Tiger Squad swung his knife and took Master Lao Tian's life, and they will no longer spare any of their opponents. Hibao began to perform the ritual, and the living souls and vengeful spirits have nowhere to hide, and he will find them. And the leader, Hibao, always gets everything. The leader of the White Tiger Squad, Hibao, sucks out the soul of Master Lao Tian and orders the spirits to obey him, and that they cannot escape the influence of his technique. And at that moment, a skull appeared, and the leader of the White Tiger Squad, Hibao, is not nervous, and everything is under control, and he wanted to teach the impudent people a lesson. Hibao asks the spirits to come out, and Master Lao Tian lost consciousness, and he does not control his actions, and the leader Hibao changed his body. But Suji stood behind Hibao, and he began to use the technique of the 4 stars, the wrath of the 8 elements, and the power of the fire god from the blazing abyss. Suji sent a fighting fire monkey towards the leader of the White Tiger Squad, Hibao, and he wants to save Master Lao Tian from the hooligans. The leader of the White Tiger Squad, Hibao, is so happy that Suji has finally arrived and he can stop torturing his colleagues, and the prey has come to the hunters. The leader of the White Tiger Squad, Hibao, defended himself from Suji's dangerous attack and should not be underestimated, as he can injure any opponent. All of Hibao's colleagues didn't have time to dodge and defend themselves from the enemy's attack, and Suji caught them off guard, and they will punish that bastard Su for his dirty trick. The leader of the White Tiger Squad, Hibao, thought that Suji had decided to run away, and did not hope that he would have enough courage to come to him and find out everything there. Suji was injured by the techniques, and he exhausted his body and must rest and gain strength and energy to continue the fight. A friend asked Suji's boss if he was okay, and Suji didn't think that the exhaustion Heiho spoke of, the black disaster, was so strong. Hibao said the fight had just begun, and Suji was already on the brink and told the bastard to give Zhao Yuanyuan and he would kill him quickly and not torture everyone. Suji told Hibao that even with problems he can easily cope with him, and the secret of their success is in faith, and he believes that he will teach the leader Hibao a lesson. But suddenly at that very second, Suji ran away from there and told his colleague that they must hide from Hibao, and that now they are not on equal terms. The leader of the White Tiger Squad, Hibao, asked Suji if he was really running away and not fighting with the opponent, and the leader thought that Suji was stronger and smarter. The leader of the White Tiger Squad, Hibao, entered shaman mode and used the spiritual willow tree technique, causing many human hands to emerge from the ground. Suji and his friend are horrified, and what the leader of the White Tiger Squad, he, is doing. And he has lost all boundaries. And this is a forbidden technique and how to defend himself. The leader of the White Tiger Squad, Hibao, grabbed Suji and his friend and said that he had already gained the power of a god. But Suji was still a weakling and had not developed his skills. Suji asked Hibao if he really called himself a god, and he was a dog who had not forgotten his old habits, and why the dog. He decided that he was a god and a genius. The leader of the White Tiger Squad, Hibao, asked if Suji had noticed this and he had made a deal with the monster. So what if in their world the law is strong? Leader. Hibao said no one cares about methods, and everyone is only concerned about who lost and who won, and the loser loses the right to speak in their game. Leader. Hibao grabbed Suji by the throat and ordered him to answer the question and where Zhao Yuanyuan was. But Suji said he had no idea where his sister was. But at that very moment, a colleague pointed his finger and asked the boss, Hibao, to personally look there. And he noticed an important detail and found the answer to their question. The White Tiger Squad hunter told boss Hibao that Zhao Yuanyuan was the one who found them, and she and Suji are similar and both have no intelligence. Suji is in complete shock. And why did Zhao Yuanyuan come to him and he told her not to come out of hiding so that the enemies would not take her sister prisoner? A few minutes ago, the monster lady told Zhao Yuanyuan's sister that the cocoons were shaking and it looked like they were hatching and how to solve the problem. Canara monsters began to emerge from the cocoon, and they are all tormented by hunger and they are obliged to find a victim, and will spare no one in the tower, and this is a fact. But the lady monster heard the rumble and doesn't know what the sound is, and she and her sister Zhao Yuanyuan must be more careful with Canara in battle. The lady monster noticed a special cocoon, and it was different from the others, and all the Canara monsters started to approach this cocoon. And it was so strange. The monster lady was surprised because the Canara monsters bowed to the cocoon. And what was happening and where was Suji's brother, and he could explain all the information. And at that very second, someone began to hatch from the cocoon, and the lady monster and Zhao Yuanyuan were on guard and ready to fight back the monster if it came out. The queen of the Canara monsters emerged from the cocoon, and the lady monster realized they were in a dangerous situation, and all the Canara monsters were strong and powerful. Zhao Yuanyuan went towards Queen Canara, and she was obliged to eliminate the enemy without thinking twice and protect the monster lady as she ordered. The monster queen. Canara has noticed Zhao Yuanyuan and she wants to eliminate her as soon as possible, and no one has the right to enter her territory. And at that very moment, The monster Queen Canara dealt a powerful blow and wounded Zhao Yuanyuan, and the opponent made a mistake when she attacked her. The lady monster wants to help Zhao Yuanyuan's sister, but Canara has tied her up so tightly that she can't escape from her grip and they are trapped. The monster lady doesn't know what the monster Queen Canara wants to do, and it seems she has plans for her, and the lady is thinking about how to protect herself. The Queen of Monsters, Canara, is serious and will not let go of anyone who disturbs her peace and will definitely protect her spiders from evil enemies. And at that very moment, the Queen of the Monsters, Canara, opened her mouth and something came out of her mouth and she would create her army and destroy all enemies. The lady monster asked the monster if she really wanted to infect her, and she realized that this spider had turned all the students into spiders and she had found an enemy. But the lady monster, without thinking twice, wounded her opponent in the eye, and when she found the enemy, the Queen of Monsters would die and no one would save her from the lady. Lady Monster asked Canara if she seemed to be running and where her strength and anger had gone, and if she had wanted to infect her, but she was not a simple enemy. The monster lady asked Canara to accept her blood as an offering for the sake of all the innocent students of the school, and it will calm their souls and guarantee. The lady monster is furious with the Canara monsters and she will tear their heads to shreds, and the schoolgirls were kind, but the monster took their lives. The monster lady continues to attack the Canara monsters with all her might and use dangerous techniques, and she will not forget about the students of their school. Lady Monster defeated the dangerous Canara monsters in a couple of minutes, and she has many cool techniques and she saved them for fighting monsters and revenge. The monster lady told Zhao Yuanyuan that she was forced to use the immature golden silkworm, mosquito goo, but avenged the disciples. But when Zhao Yuanyuan did not expect it, the monster lady Hongyi did not finish her sentence and lost consciousness, and she had already exhausted her body. Zhao Yuanyuan approached Sister Honggai and accidentally heard the bastard Hibao asking Brother Suji where Yuanyuan was and decided to go. Zhao Yuanyuan asked Brother Su Zhao if he was okay, and she did not pay attention to other enemies and her goal was to save Brother Suji. Hibao is happy and he won't have to look for Zhao Yuanyuan. And first he will get rid of Suji and then catch his sister and sell her for money. The leader of the White Tiger Squad, Hibao, awakens the monster and tells the enemy, Suji, that he himself is to blame for everything and that his weakness will destroy him and his sister. Suji asked the leader of the White Tiger Squad, Hibao, why he needed Zhao Yuanyuan's sister and that it wasn't about money, and wanted to know Hibao's plan. The leader of the White Tiger Squad, Hibao, asked Suji if he didn't understand why they wanted to kidnap Zhao Yuanyuan and she would stabilize everything. The leader of the White Tiger Squad, Hibao, wanted to say the real reason, but at that moment, the monster's huge hand crushed him and Hibao was dead. The colleague stepped aside and asked the boss Hibao if he was okay, but he understood that after such a strong blow from the hand, people would not survive. Suji and his friend are in complete shock, and why did Hibao's personal monster kill him? And it seems the leader has lost control over the monster. And this is strange. The monster told people that fighting on school grounds is prohibited, and he warned the students so many times, but they did not understand him and were punished. Leader. Hibao's colleague began to run away with all his might and beg his friends for help, and the monster defeated leader Hibao and how to defend against the enemy. But at that very second, the monster took the life of the leader's colleague, Hibao, and he warned that running during breaks was prohibited, but they violated it. The monster told Suji that all students with bad grades deserved to die and he would spare no one, and that he had to study well in school. A friend stands nearby and tells boss Suji to run away, but the fighter asks his friend not to move, and they won't be able to escape from the monster and he is faster. A friend asked Master Suji if the fighters would be able to defeat the monster if they stayed. But Suji took out a talisman and they were forced to take the risk. Suji uses the technique of the Ring of 8 Directions and the Demon of 5 Days and drives out filth and binds spirits. And only he is the supreme power. Suji created many fire warriors with the talisman of pacifying spirits and ghosts, and it will stop the violent monster that is dangerous in battle. Heiho Black Disaster told Suji that 3 experts were coming and she hoped he could hold out until they arrived, and Suji was trying very hard. But suddenly the monster began to pursue Suji, and playing with techniques and the talisman in class is punishable by death, and he is obliged to punish Suji. Suji and his friends started running away from the monster and he easily defeated Suji's warriors with one blow, and they should quickly run away from there. A friend asked Master Suji what his plan was, but he hadn't come up with one yet, so he told his friend to just run away from the monster and he wouldn't be able to catch them both. The monster told 2 students that they are bad students and their behavior greatly affects the prestige of the school, and the monster protects the reputation of the school. Suji and his friend realized that it was their end, and they could not escape from the monster, and he drove them into a trap, and the master did not come up with a plan on how to defeat the enemy. The monster wanted to crush Suji and his friend, but suddenly the leader of the Jinrong squad, Qin Ziyun, appeared in front of them and protected Suji. A friend told Suje's boss that Qin Zyun, the leader of the Jinrong squad, and Miss asks Ling Ling's assistant to take Suji and his friend out of the tower. Ling Ling agreed with Miss Qin Zyun and began to tie up the fighters, and they were very lucky that Miss managed to come to the tower and help in trouble. Assistant Ling Ling pulled Suje and his friend towards her and asked them not to be afraid, and Miss Qin Zyun knows how to defeat the dangerous monster. Suja asks Ling Ling to untie him, but she said her bandages are not simple and they heal their body and does not know why Qin helped them. Suja was surprised and asked if Qin Zyun had come to help him. And Ling Ling asked her friend why he accepted this task, and it was stupid. Ling Ling listens to the words of a friend, and the tower that appeared in the school was created from the soul of the great god Maharaga, and Qin was afraid for Suje. Suja is glad that Qin Zyun cares about him, and then it dawned on him, and he asked Ling Ling if this is not an ordinary tower and who is the Maharaga. Ling Ling stands next to her friend and told Suja that he is an idiot. And what did Miss Qin Zyun see in him? And she will explain all the information to Suje. Maharaga himself feeds on anger, one of the three vices: greed, anger, and ignorance. And in this girl's school, there is already an abundance of all of this. Lin Lin said, Maharaga, by manipulating the principal and teachers from the school, he evolved to rank A, and he is a very dangerous opponent. Suja was shocked by Ling Ling's words, and he didn't think that Maharaga was so strong, and they were wrong to underestimate him. And the fighters in the tower need to be more careful. Suja asked Ling Ling if this creature was the school principal, and that was why he always talked about the school rules and maintained order. The school principal told Qin Zyun that she has bad grades in school and she fights against teachers and she will die, and the principal will not forgive the lady. Qin Zyun asked the monster why he called himself a director and told him not to disgrace this profession and that he was not worthy of this profession. The school principal told Qin Zyun that she doesn't respect her elders and he must punish her, and he waved his hand and wanted to hurt the impudent student. But Qin Zyun defended herself from the school principal's attack and used 3 Tai Chi techniques, and the monster would not break her will, and she would destroy the bastard. The leader of the Jinrong squad, Qin Zyun, uses the technique of absorbing mountains and rivers and boldly attacks the school principal. And Qin is not afraid. There was a roar and an explosion, and the school principal had already received serious injuries, and Qin Zyun was a strong opponent, and he did not expect her resistance. Hei-ho told Suja that Qin Zyun's level is at least above A rank, and he has found a strong assistant, and Suja likes her character. Suja remembered and said to Hei-ho, the Black Disaster, she said that 3 experts were going there, and where is the other one, and Master Su is interested to know. Hei-ho Black Disaster told Master Su. To the 3rd expert up there, and she thought the boss forgot about the expert, but fortunately he remembers. At this time, the monster continues to attack the Black Boar squad there, and the fighter told his brother that his spiritual power is running out and he is losing energy and strength. The fighter told his brother Frank that they were finished. But suddenly he noticed their leader in the tower and realized that the leader had arrived in time and would definitely save their squad. Someone dealt a powerful blow to the monster, and she will not allow the monster to attack her squad so brazenly, and will protect them from the threat and eliminate the bastard. Frank and his friends are so happy, and the leader of the squad, the Black Boar Jessica, came to help in the tower, and her intuition is amazing, and the leader is wonderful. Jessica told her squad they were a bunch of losers, and if she had known they couldn't be relied on, she would have gone on this mission herself. The leader of the Black Boar squad, Jessica, asks her colleagues to wait for her there, and she will solve the problems, and they will soon leave the tower without losses. Jessica jumped down and the sacred relic is there, and the squad cannot allow the competitors to get ahead of them, and she will get ahead of all the squads there. The leader of the Jinrong squad, Qin Zyun, continues to hit the monster at this time, and if it does not die, she will hit it again until the monster dies. But the school principal has surprises, and he opened his mouth and said to Qin Zyun, the disobedient students do not want to obey their elders and are annoying. The school principal wants to attack Qin Zyun, and the students will definitely not change, and he will destroy them and make people respect the principal. Assistant Ling Ling worries about sister Qin Zyun and asks her not to take risks and retreat if she doesn't have the strength to fight the director. Qin Zyun deftly dodged and defended herself from the enemy's dangerous attacks, and her reflexes and reactions were on another level, so the leader would not die in the tower. Assistant Ling Ling approached Miss and asked if she was okay, and Qin Zyun told the assistant that she was fine and not injured. Ling Ling asked her sister in horror what was wrong with her hand, and Qin Zyun did not have time to defend herself and fell under the monster's technique, but it is not dangerous. A friend asked Suji if Qin Zyun was injured and why she didn't attack and always dodged attacks, and he didn't understand Qin's tactics. Suji told his friend that the leader Qin Zyun has a weakness, and she is not 100% perfect, and the school director managed to find the weakness. The friend was surprised and asked brother Suja if the leader Qinzyun had any weaknesses, and she was an A ranker, and he was interested in knowing her details. Qinzyun practices the insoluble golden body and is resistant to physical attacks, and the leader has enormous strength and will punish many. But Qinzyun's magic resistance is very low, and if her enemy uses long-range magic, Qinzyun will feel uncomfortable fighting. Qinzyun seemed to have learned that the monster was casting magic and wanted to move in to attack, but she was controlled by the director's spell. A friend asked about Ling Ling, and she is also an A rank, and together with the leader Qinzyun, they can defeat the monster, but Suja is not sure. Suja said that Ling Ling specializes in support, and she definitely doesn't have many offensive moves, and his friend decided that they were doomed to failure. But Suja told his friend that they had another expert, and Jessica was not weak, and she was used to solving problems quickly and waved her weapon. Jessica began to use the technique and told the wicked souls to find eternal peace there, and that they came to this world in vain and the spirits were mistaken. Jessica felt the aura and sacred relic inside this monster, but the monster is much stronger than she thought and how to destroy the enemy. Jessica suggested that Qinzyun join forces to defeat the monster without any problems, and her sister has many strong fighting skills. Qinzyun asked the lady who she was and how she knew her, and Jessica told Sister Qin that she was a legend who had raised her level to A herself. The school principal wants to capture the students, and Jessica told Sister Qinzyun that she is a nameless traveler and will not harm her sister. Jessica, along with Qinzyun and Ling Ling, attack the monster there, and the monster has no chance against 3 powerful opponents. The school principal said there are a lot of naughty students, and why do they keep coming to school and he can't catch them all? The school principal released the spirit of the teachers and asks them to teach a lesson to the insolent students who are disrupting discipline and are no longer afraid of anything. Qinzyun saw the spirit of the teacher close in front of her, and she does not know how to attack and defend against the spirits and how to destroy the spirits. Jinrong Squad Leader. Qinzyun asked Jessica if these were the ghosts of the teachers and if the school principal was manipulating and if he was a scoundrel. Jessica asks Qinzyun and Ling Ling not to approach the teachers, and they influence their minds, and the school principal is not an ordinary enemy. A friend asked what it was, and 3 A-rank demon hunters couldn't handle the B-rank tower anymore. And Z said there were many factors in the tower. A friend asked Suja how he got free, and Su said that these were healing bandages, and they come off on their own after healing, and Lao Tian was on the verge. Suja told his friend what an incredible battle was going on there, and that 3 A-rank guards had come to hold back the monster and how to help them. Heiho told Suja that if he goes there he will interfere with the 3 ladies, and she feels the monster is not fighting at its best, but there is a way to help. Heiho said, "A couple of minutes ago the monster upstairs was killed, and if they absorb its body they might be able to awaken that dangerous creature." Suja asked Heiho Black Disaster if she was telling him about the monster on the next floor in his head, and he was afraid of the monster's power. Heiho Black Disaster said, "Suji is right, and when the boss levels up, she can release 1 creature, and today she won't help." Suji started calling Zhao Yuanyuan, and whether she can hear him, and his brother is so worried about her, and he hopes his sister is not hurt in the dangerous tower. Zhao Yuanyuan glanced at brother Suja, and she wants to help him and is waiting for orders from her brother, and is glad that he is okay. And brother Zhe is the best. Suja waves his hands and asks Zhao Yuanyuan if his sister remembers the huge monster and asks her to throw his corpse there, and it will absorb him. Zhao Yuanyuan didn't hear anything, but she will still help Suja, and she has been with her brother for many years and knows his wishes and requests. But Zhao Yuanyuan was confused about what brother Suja was portraying, and he waved his hands vigorously and wanted to show someone so that his sister could understand. And at that moment, Zhao Yuanyuan's intellect and mind did not fail her, and she understood that brother Suji meant a monster, and she would bring him in a minute. Suja is pleased, and it seems that Zhao Yuanyuan's sister understood what her brother wanted from her, and he had no doubt because they already have an invisible connection. But when Zhao Yuanyuan began to throw the monster to Suja's brother, he froze in place in complete shock, and did not know that the monster was of such a scale. Suja said to Heiho, "The Black Disaster, this monster is huge and almost crushed him, and it seems that only the head of the monster weighs several tons." Heiho Black Calamity told Master Su. So there was no time to waste and ordered him to quickly absorb the monster, and Boss Su would become much stronger. Suja captured the monster, and Heiho, the Black Disaster, gives the boss valuable advice, and her energy helps in the battle when he loses all his energy. Suji has begun to absorb the monster, and he is interested in finding out what he will become after absorption. And in the future, he will achieve unprecedented heights. Suja thought after 15 years he would finally become a B rank. And Suji had wanted this for a long time and endured the ridicule of other hunters. And this is cool. And at that moment, an eye opened in Suji's brain, and the master managed to raise the level without any problems, and Heiho Black Disaster had no doubt. A sweet lady woke up in Suja's mind, and she was delighted, And finally, no one was bothering her, and she was free. And Suja's master had released the monster. The new monster said how wonderful the world outside was, but everything there was somehow strange. And this territory looked like someone's brain, and she didn't understand it. But the monster doesn't care, and since she got out, she will have fun there, and no creature will stop her, and she has unlimited strength and power in her hands. But Suja distracted the monster, and she is in his head and asked her not to destroy the territory in his brain and to calm his nerves first. But the progenitor of the Scarlet Phoenixes lived for 1,000 years, and Suja is a worm, and she will crush him to crush his bones. And why is he pointing out to the monster? But suddenly, the Scarlet Phoenix's attacks disappeared, and she was in shock. And Suja was also surprised, and why the monster couldn't injure him, and the boss was lucky. Hey ho, Black Calamity said to Scarlet Phoenix. They left the tower. But this youth is her host, and according to the rules, they cannot cause harm. Suja asked the Scarlet Phoenix if she could help defeat the evil monster outside, but the Phoenix asked why she should help Sue. Hey ho. Black Calamity told her sister she slept in the tower for a long time and her powers weakened, and it seems this monster is too strong for the Scarlet Sister. Hey ho, Black Calamity told her sister, this youth is not worthy of seeing her power. And Suja told the Scarlet Phoenix he will find other monsters. Suja said that there are 3 A-rank masters with them, and they might be able to defeat the monster. But Hey Huo Black Calamity asks not to put pressure on the Scarlet Sister. The Scarlet Phoenix is furious, and who said that she can't handle the monster and Sue? She will see how the Phoenix destroys a weak monster without any problems. The school principal told the teachers that they fought well with the students, and he appreciated their contribution to the discipline of the school and would never forget his friends. Jessica, along with Qinzyun and Ling Ling, stand in front of the monster, and the school principal is cunning, and it is difficult for them to find the monster's weaknesses. The school principal opened his mouth and began to absorb the souls of school teachers, and was tired of explaining the rules to the students and will take drastic measures. The school principal ate the souls of the school teachers, and the 3 ladies are wrong to think they can catch him off guard, and he is ready to fight forever without rest. The school principal told the 3 hunters that it would be an honor for them to die at his hands, and that they should thank the principal for finishing them off. Jessica told Qinzyun that she would try to tie up the director for a second, and she had to finish off the monster, and Qinzyun understood her plan. Jessica started using the Solomon Seal technique, and the director won't give up easily. But there are 3 of them, and Qinzyun will help defeat the enemy. Jessica tied the hands of the school principal and gave a signal to Sister Qinzyun, and she can attack the monster, and it is motionless for now. Qinzyun jumped towards the school principal and wanted to deal a powerful blow to the opponent and used a dangerous technique to strike. Qinzyun was able to attack the school principal and dealt serious damage to the monster, and any mortal person would not have survived her attack. Jessica said Ling Ling hopes Qinzyun killed the school principal, and the monster didn't expect their sister to hide in the corner to attack. But the school principal did not die, and told Qinzyun that it was a good blow for a mortal, and he did not know that ladies could fight like warriors of light. The headmaster of the school regenerates and told the 3 ladies in the tower that he is strong and invincible, and that is why no squad could kill him, and this is true. Suja said the school principal is so strong, but the Scarlet Phoenix noticed that the monster's power comes from evil spirits, and while they are in the body, he is invincible. The Scarlet Phoenix said that those evil spirits are the endless resentment and anger of people, and it is no longer possible to kill the director without overwhelming force. Suja is completely shocked by the words of the Scarlet Phoenix. And does this really mean that there are still living people in the tower? And this is an intrigue. The Scarlet Phoenix asks Suja to stop talking, and that she needs to possess him to draw a talisman, and told Suja to sit with her back to her. Suja agreed with the assistant and sat with his back to her and asked if he had done everything correctly and if they were obliged to stop the school director as soon as possible. But suddenly the Scarlet Phoenix jumped on Suja's neck and asked her friend not to move, and Sue was shocked, and she wanted to move into Master Sue's body. Scarlet Phoenix asked Suja who would want to inhabit his body, and he should hold the brush tighter and not interfere with her, and they would punish the enemy. Suja drew a talisman, and he told the Scarlet Phoenix that everything was ready, and he was waiting for orders from his friend, and together they had enough strength to defeat the enemy. Scarlet Phoenix glanced at the talisman and told Master Suja that he clearly hadn't drawn it perfectly, but it would do, and they had no time to waste. The Scarlet Phoenix asks Suja to come and repeat the spell after her, and she guarantees 100% that the school principal will soon fall. Suja began to apply the technique, and the basis is the truth, and the terrible king will show his strength, and the opponents will not withstand the pressure of the king. The Scarlet Phoenix uses the technique together with Suji. And even though the evil spirits have already lost their power, and the spirits have forgotten their appearance, the enemy cannot hide from the hero. And at that moment, a huge creature appeared, and Suji and the Phoenix summoned it, and they will not leave the school director a single chance in battle. Suja raised his hand, and he is serious. And the school principal was so unlucky that he ran into him in the tower, and Suji is the strongest of all. The huge warrior continues to chase the school principal, and Suji realized the demon's weakness, and his friend the Scarlet Phoenix helped his brother. The school director wants to escape from this territory, and he is no match in battle for the warriors Suji and the Scarlet Phoenix, and he will have time to take revenge on the hunters. Suji said the evil spirits have nowhere to hide and their technology will defeat him. And he did not forget how the school principal mocked his friends in battles. The huge warrior knocked down the school principal, and Suji told the monster not to argue and to kneel, and he wants to ask questions and find out everything. Suji told the school principal that because of his greed, he gained power that did not belong to him and did whatever he wanted and was not afraid of anyone. The huge warrior began to suck out the school principal's energy, and Z will return his true form, and he is tired of fighting the monster from the school. The school director said he is a great god, and how a pathetic mortal. Z dared to attack and humiliate him, and he will teach the impudent student a lesson for his sins. But Suji used the technique and told the school director that he was nobody to him, and his threats were empty words, and he was doomed to die and that this was fate. A huge warrior grabbed the school principal, and Suji said the monster was trapped, and he would disappear forever and stop harming people in the world. The school principal opened his mouth and something sparkled in his mouth. But Suji did not forget about the school students, and it's a pity they can't bring them back. But he remembers. Jessica is so happy. And this is the sacred relic of the monster, and she will take the relic, and it was not in vain that she helped Kinziyun and Suji there so many times. Kinziyun noticed the relic in the monster's mouth and asked everyone what it was, and she was interested to know. But Jessica was nervous, and it was dangerous there. But when Kinziyun didn't expect it, Jessica used the Solomon seal without further ado and bound the leader of the Jinrong squad. Jessica pushed Kinziyun and said that the relic was hers, and she would definitely not give the trophy to anyone. And it was not in vain that she risked her life and fought. Jessica has almost gotten the relic out of the headmaster's monster's mouth, and her fierce boar squad will become the leader among the hunter squads. But someone kicked the relic out of Jessica's hands and won't let her take it back. And the lady is forced to explain her behavior. Zhao Yuanyuan kicked Jessica in the arm, and why did her sister so meanly want to set them up and pretend to be their friend? And she is cunning. Suji cleverly caught the relic, and Jessica realized that this was a problem, and she would not be able to take the relic unnoticed, and her colleagues found out the plans. Suji asks for forgiveness from the beautiful Jessica, but it seems her plans are not destined to come true. But they thank her for helping defeat the monster. Ling Ling heals the monster lady's wounds, and Suji told Jessica they would be happy to consider her part of the team, and she is a smart strategist. Suji told Jessica that if Zhao Yuanwen hadn't mistaken this relic of hers for the core, she would have taken it away, and Jessica would have ruined their friendship. Jessica asked Suji if he really didn't want to give her the relic, and her colleague would be in serious trouble, and she was clearly not joking. And at that very second, Jessica broke the ground under her feet, and she knew that her opponents were smart people, and she had trump cards, and she would take everything. Jessica told Suji and Qin Ziyun to look there, and there were cocoons with students inside, and they were showing signs of life, and this made her friends happy. Suji is in complete shock, and he realized that this means there are actually survivors in the area, and they are obliged to go around the entire area and search. The leader of the Jinrong squad, Qin Ziyun, is nervous, and Jessica brazenly caught them off guard, and they did not expect that she could hand over everyone. Jessica told the hunter and friend Suzia to give her the relic, otherwise all the students would die, and she would spare no one and guarantee the result. Suji asked the Scarlet Phoenix if she could help him, but she didn't want to help her friend a second time and told him to decide everything himself. Lady Monster Hongai clung to Suji's hand and begged him to save the ladies. And when she came down from the mountains, the students helped her, and she was clearly in debt. Lady Monster Hongai asked Suji's brother to give Jessica a special relic, and then she will compensate Suji for everything and return it with interest. Qin Ziyun said, Jessica came from somewhere and risked fighting a monster all for the sake of an artifact, and maybe this item is unusual. Lady Monster Hongai is crying, and how they can save the students, and Jessica let everyone down, and she hoped that her friend would help. But she brazenly deceived. Jessica told Qin Ziyun that it's not for nothing that she's the leader, and her intuition and intelligence are exceptional, but she doesn't have time for empty conversations and has things to do. Jessica told Suji to give her the relic. Otherwise everyone will die and he will be guilty, and asked him to think 1,000 times about his actions as a boss. Suji threw the relic to Jessica and she can take it, but asked her to promise that she will not harm his friends and he will protect them from them everywhere. The leader of the Jinrong squad, Qin Ziyun, doesn't know what Suji is up to and that he gave up the relic in vain. Jessica has evil plans and she senses it. Lady Monster Hongai is in complete shock. And won't brother Suji save her friends? And the school students are innocent, and she loses hope. Jessica is glad that Suji understands the situation, but she doesn't see how Suji attached the talisman to the relic and has a brilliant plan. Suji told Jessica that of course he assessed the situation, and suddenly he began to use the technique and would not allow Jessica to take the relic. Jessica noticed a bright glow, and did Suji deceive her, and he attached the talisman to the relic, and Su's friend created problems for himself. And then, a huge monster appeared in front of Jessica and Su. Day summoned him, and he will not forgive the traitors and will punish Jessica for her vile sin. Jessica looks at the monster and doesn't understand where it came from, and Ji is not so simple, and she will take revenge on the scoundrel when she deals with their monster. But suddenly, at that very moment, the monster began to move into Jessica's body, and he will not let her go until boss Suji gives the command and she is doomed. Kinzyun asked Suja where he learned a rare technique, and Jessica did not expect that Suji would use the technique and failed. Kinzyun looked at Jessica and said to Suja, "This technique is powerful, but it looks disgusting and no one wants to experience these sensations." Suji asked Hei Hua what kind of vile talisman the Black Calamity was, and Hei said it was heart vision and it would destroy the opponent from the inside. Jessica decided she couldn't die there, and she had a lot to do, and Suja wouldn't kill her with a rare technique, and her colleagues underestimated her skills. Jessica started to cast a spell, and she will have to use this technique, and she will stay alive and decide her own fate and protect herself with the technique. Jessica screams and uses the technique, and she will take revenge on her colleagues for everything, and reminds Suja about the rare technique and asks to wait for her visit. Friends asked if Jessica had escaped, and Chinzyun realized it, and it seemed Jessica had used teleportation magic and left the tower. Chinzyun told her friends that it seemed like this magic could only transfer the physical body, and Jessica was prepared for their rare techniques. Lady Monster Hongai lost consciousness, and Ling Ling asked her sister not to move, and her wound opened again, and Hongai's friend needs to be treated. Hei Ho Black Disaster asked if Jessica had just run away, and Scarlet Phoenix decided that if there was no fight, she would already go to bed in the house. But Suja asked the Scarlet Phoenix to tell him about the talisman that she drew on the ground, and Master Su saw such a talisman for the first time. Hei Ho Black Disaster told Master Suja to better worry about the consequences of the talisman, and he doesn't know all the information about the technique. Qinjun and Zhao Yuanyuan heard sounds behind them, and they expected to see anything but this, and Suja surprised them, and it's cute. Suddenly, Suja became a cat, and Hei Ho Black Calamity said if the boss is not so strong, the use of the Seal Heart Calamity will hit them. Hei Ho Black Disaster told Master Su, so that in that case the boss will turn into a defenseless beast, and he is a cute cat and wants to hug. Ling Ling and Zhao Yuanyuan picked up Suja and asked their brother if he really turned into a cat, and didn't know about the side effects. But Qinzyun told her friends it was not a cat, but the sacred beast Baizhe, and Ling Ling said, "Miss, thank you for all the information about Baizhe." Qinzyun asks, Zhao Yuanyuan, not to worry, and it seems that this is a consequence of using the talisman, and Su. She wanted to save his friends. Qinjun said it seems that after some time, Suja's friend will turn back into a human and they need to deal with these people. Qinjun asks Zhao Yuanyuan to take the treasures and not abandon Suja in difficult times, and Ji worries about her sister more than anyone else. Zhao Yanyan took the treasures and agreed with Qin Ziyun that she would never abandon Master Suja in trouble and protect him from enemies. Qin Ziyun told Ling Ling that there were survivors in the tower and asked her to send a group to evacuate them, and it was not for nothing that they all came to the tower. Suja's friend told Zhao Yuanyuan that if she didn't mind, she could go with them, and they would give her temporary housing and they wouldn't abandon her sister. A friend told Zhao Yuanyuan to let this be a sign of gratitude to Suja for saving them. And Suja's brother saved his friends from all the monsters. Zhao Yuanyuan agrees with her friend from the Black Cat Squad, and Zhao didn't know that Suja's brother had so many friends and they were ready to help his sister. The leader of the White Tiger Squad, Hibao, lies wounded on the ground and cannot get up, and the monster smashed him with one blow and he remembers everything. The leader of the White Tiger Squad, Hibao, keeps repeating Suji's name, and he will never forget the insolent act and will take revenge if he survives. After these events, friends brought Suji's brother to Area 26, and friends are waiting for the brother to wake up and his condition to return to normal. Suja opened his eyes and saw Zhao Yuanyuan, and it looks like his sister has already absorbed the core of that boss and will make a new breakthrough, and he is happy for her. The Sky Towers suddenly appeared 10 years ago and destroyed their neighborhoods, and the rich created their own zones and their barrier cannot be removed. Suju is in complete shock, and where is he and where are his hands and why is he light and does not control his body 100%? And it seems like he has already changed. Suja turned around and noticed the lady's hand reaching out to him, and he had dreamed about this for so long, and he was lucky, and who took him to her home. Lady Monster Hongai hugged the cat and he's cute, and Suja is surprised and he can't speak like a human and how to explain the situation to his sister. Zhao Yuanyuan's body is filled with strength and energy, and Hongai does not let go of the cat and asks to give her a hug, and she will never let go of the cat. Lady Monster Hongai told the cat that he was so dirty and asked him to come with her, and his sister bathed him, and Suji was inspired, and he loved bathing. Lady Monster Hongai took the cat to the bathroom, and Suji is delighted, and he looks at his beautiful friend, and the life of cats is like paradise, and it's cool. Suji is delighted, and watching Hongai wash herself is a pleasant and not exhausting sight, and it's good that her friend took the cute cat to the bathroom. Suji drew conclusions, and turning into a cat turned out to be not so bad, and he fell into a perfect illusion. And the vibe of cats is pleasing to the eye. Hey-ho, Black Disaster told the scoundrel Suji that the transformation effect time is almost up and he will soon become a human, and it is true. Suji realized Hey-ho's words, Black Disaster, and he is completely shocked by her warning. And Hongai will figure out that he was following her in the bathroom. Suji has just remembered an important detail and may lose trust and respect in front of Hongie and Hei, who warned of the Black Disaster too late. Suji remembered that he had no clothes on and he lost them yesterday when he turned into a cat. And Hongai should not see his body and he is dangerous. Hongai told the cat she wanted to wash him. But the cat meowed, and Suji couldn't explain to her friend that he couldn't be washed and was causing psychological trauma. Lady Monster Hongai took the cat in her arms, and Suji realized this was the end, and he would not solve this situation and how to get out of the bathroom and a friend in a trap. And at that moment when the monster Lady Hongai held Suji in her arms, he turned back into a human and he wanted to warn, but was too late. Suji is very nervous and asks the monster Lady Hongai to listen to her friend's explanation first, and this is a very ridiculous and absurd situation. Lady Monster Hongai froze in place from shock and studied her friend's body, and Suji told her friend it was not what she thought and that her brother was kind. Yin Yuan came into the house and asked Zhao Yuan where all their friends were and where Suji was. She wanted to visit him and find out how they were doing. Zhao Yuan pointed her finger at the bathroom and said, Qin Ziyun, Suji's brother turned into a cat and went to the bathroom and he hasn't come out yet. Qin Ziyun is so happy. And when Zhao Yuan learned to speak, Ling Ling told her sister it was not a cat, but Baiza, and asked her to remember. And at that moment, the ladies heard Hongai's scream from the bathroom, and they are all worried and don't know what happened to her sister and are obliged to find out. Yin Ziyun and Ling Ling quickly went into the bathroom and asked Sister Hongai what happened and why she screamed loudly and scared everyone. Suji got punched in the face by Hongai and told Qin Ziyun that he told her it was an accident. But Hongai doesn't believe him and thinks he's a villain. Qin Ziyun and Ling Ling started laughing, and Suji's brother turned into a human at the wrong time. And why did he go to the bathroom with Hongyi? But when no one expected, Zhao Yuan took the bowl from her friend's hands and asked Suji what he was hiding, and he was hiding an important device from the ladies. Qin Ziyun and Ling Ling are in complete shock, and they saw Suji's body, and Honggai is mentally traumatized for the second time that day and cannot bear it. Qin Ziyun found out that this relic is a wish compass, and the thing fulfills a person's wishes by already pointing the direction with light. Qin Ziyun said this is one of the 7 great relics, and Suji will use a drop of blood to tame the relic, and it will find his teacher. But Qin Ziyun told Suji that the compass was broken and the relic was missing the wish pearl, and that they could find the part if they wanted. Suji remembers. Uncle Wu disappeared while saving him, and it doesn't matter whether he is alive or not, but Suji is obliged to find Uncle Wu even if Uncle Wu turned into a zombie. Suji looks at the relic and he remembered the events from his childhood, and he can't forget the day when Uncle Wu disappeared, and this is their tragedy. Suji sat next to Zhao Yuan as a child and called Uncle Wu, and did not want him to risk his life and always loved his uncle, and he is kind. Uncle Wu fought with the monsters and told Suji and Zhao Yuan to run away from there quickly. Otherwise, the demons would catch up with them, and Uncle would protect them from the enemies. At one time, Suji became a demon hunter to gain experience and become stronger and more powerful to find a teacher, but still could not. Qin Ziyun asked Master Suji if he should go to her squad and the bureau might have information about Uncle Wu, and this is her guess. But Suji refused, and he doesn't like being constrained. And according to rumors, not everything is so clean in the Demon Suppression Bureau, and this is true. Qin Ziyun will try to find some information for Suji and all the things found at school in this bag, and asks to hand in the task. Suji took the bag, and for this task they will receive a decent reward, and said to Zhao Yuan, they will both go and quickly take the reward. Lady Monster Hongai asked her friend Suji if she could join their squad, and that she had many useful skills for fighting and would protect her brother. But Suji abruptly left the house with Zhao Yuan and asked Hongai not to even think about it, and that it was dangerous in the detachment and he would not accept her. After some time, Suji and Zhao Yuan came to the bureau, and Master Su told the beautiful administrator that he had come to hand in a B-rank task. The administrator was completely shocked and asked Master Suji if he had really completed Brang's task and if she had doubted her brother in vain. Suji asked the administrator if he would take on the case if he was not sure, and asked the administrator to quickly calculate the reward for everything. And at that very moment, Suji noticed the compass reacted, and it looks like the compass is looking for the necessary part. And Qin Ziyun is absolutely right in everything. And then Suji noticed his new task on the screen. And this was the pacification of the Forbidden Zone, the demon pacification area. And the task was already of rank A. Suji looked at the screen and was surprised to receive an A rank task. And he really wants to know if there will be what he needs. And it is so interesting. Suji approached the administrator, and he wants to accept a new A rank task, and received information on the screen and wants to know all the data. The administrator told Suji that last time they gave the task as an exception. And where is the evidence that the master completed the task at school? Suji took out a bag and told the administrator that these were things from the tower at the girls' school, and he knew 100% that the lady would ask for this. Suji opened the bag, and the administrator was very surprised. And this is the A-rank boss. And how was Master Suji able to kill the monster boss? And he is so strong. Suji gave the administrator a rank A key and asked him to give him a task, and he is ready 1000% and is seriously determined to perform feats there. The administrator warned that this was a restricted area, and whether the fighter was sure he wanted to accept the mission, according to rumors. This place was cursed by monsters. Suji told the administrator that he was confident, and she gave him a new task, and Suji was required to go to the demon pacification area and an A-rank task. The administrator told Suji that the task was accepted and asked the master not to take risks on the task, to be more careful, and that he was a newbie in the hunter's business. People asked if anyone had returned alive from that tower, and the tower is outside the city and it's a one-way trip, and Suji is a stupid fighter. Suji is serious, and it seems he needs to prepare something in advance so that the enemies won't harm him, and Suji has surprises for the monsters. Suji entered his consciousness and began to call out to Lord Hong Luan, and the Scarlet Phoenix should come out for a moment and discuss something with Su's friend. Suji continues to call for Lord Hong Luan, and the Scarlet Phoenix does not respond to him in any way, and maybe she is sleeping and she is passive, unlike Hibao. But suddenly at that very moment, the Scarlet Phoenix Hong Luan hit Suji on the head and asked the idiot why he was yelling, and she was ready to kill the master. Suji told the Scarlet Phoenix Hong Luan that Hibao Black Calamity said that she was a talisman master and asked if she could teach him. The Scarlet Phoenix Hong Luan is strangling Suji, and to create talismans they need materials like scarlet fruit and purple crystal. But Su has nothing. Suji told the Scarlet Phoenix Hong Luan that they could buy materials and came to the antique market on the West Street and strolled around the market. Scarlet Phoenix Hong Luan asked Suji if he wanted Hibao, the Black Disaster, to flutter around him and let him say thank you. Scarlet Phoenix Hong Luan said that talismans are divided into two types. Some have a level limit, and others have a fixed power. And this is important. Suji chose the first option, and the Scarlet Phoenix Hong Luan said they need to find good materials, but the market is full of trash and it's a shame. Suji told the Scarlet Phoenix Hong Luan that he was not that rich and could not buy many things, but he could find something that would help him defeat the monster. Scarlet Phoenix Hong Luan told Suji that he had recently risen to rank B and would not activate an A-rank talisman even if he wanted to. But there was a way. Scarlet Phoenix Hong Luan pointed her finger, and Suji would definitely activate the A-rank talisman if he bought this item, and Luan would guarantee the result. Suji asked the Scarlet Phoenix Hong Luan if she was talking about a figurine there, and if she liked it, the master would buy a figurine for the Phoenix. Scarlet Phoenix Hong Luan is angry and she has lived for thousands of years and seen many things, and this trinket is unworthy of her gaze, and she is the best of all. Scarlet Phoenix Hong Luan asks Master Suji to simply buy the goods, and inside the figurine there are useful materials, and she thinks about the master. Suji agreed with the Scarlet Phoenix Hong Luan, and he will buy the figurine and believes it will improve his skills, and he will kill A-rank monsters without difficulty. Suji approached the seller and asked the old man how much the item cost, and the seller told the gentleman that he had a sharp eye and that he had found a treasure. The seller asked Suji if he knew Master Huasheng and the things he had consecrated as rarities and would sell the goods to a friend for 50,000 stones. Suji asked the old man not to think that he is easily deceived, and he knows that Master Huasheng has not descended from the mountain for 20 years, and the old man was deceived. The seller listens to his friend's words, and Suji asks the old man not to lose concentration next time, and this will serve as a lesson, and this is so important. Suji asked the seller if he agreed to sell the goods to him, and if he didn't buy them, the goods would gather dust for many years and no one would buy this trash. But the seller stands behind Suji and begs his friend not to leave and is ready to give the goods for 50,000 and asks his friend to pick up the goods quickly. Hibao Black Calamity asks Suji to buy the box, and it will definitely be useful for his pet, and the master will thank Hibao in the future. Suji told the old man that he wanted to buy this box and wanted to discuss the price, but the seller was willing to sell it for 100 and asked him to take it and leave. Suji said to Zhao Yuanyuan, they have Hibao, Black Calamity, and Scarlet Phoenix, Hong Luan, and Qin Ziyun's bag, and they are ready for the mission. Suji told Zhao Yuanyuan that they would now set out on their journey, and the monster lady Hongai was quietly following her friends and wanted to help her friend. The mosquitoes of the monster lady Hongai can track any person, and Suji will not escape from her, and she will find Master Su anywhere in the world. Suji asked Zhao Yuanyuan if she could tell stories or read poetry, but Zhao Yuanyuan couldn't read poetry to Su's brother. Jessica is also watching Suji, and she is obliged to take possession of the relic, and this time she will kill the opponent, and the enemy will not hide from Jessica anywhere. Suji doesn't know what this thing is and whether there are materials inside this figurine, and can just break it and find out the result, and this is important. But the Scarlet Phoenix Hong Luan is furious, and why would Suji break the figurine, and the materials are not inside the figurine, and the idiot? Suji definitely didn't understand anything. Scarlet Phoenix. Hong Luan said the materials are in the stand, and there are the 7 treasures of Buddha, and they are of the best quality, and she is not lying. Scarlet Phoenix. Hong Luan asks her friend Suji not to touch the box for now, and to open it only when the pet is in trouble, and to remember her words. Suji agrees with the Scarlet Phoenix Hong Luan, and she always gives the boss important information, and he is lucky that they got a strong beast. Scarlet Phoenix Hong Luan told Suji she was happy, and they would make talismans along the way, and Suji understood how to deal with young Luan. Scarlet Phoenix. Hong Luan told Suji that if he dies in the tower, she will not survive and the path leads to the gate of death. But Suji is not afraid of monsters. After some time, Suji came to the territory and will carry out the plan, and he is 100% confident of his success, and doubts prevent them from thinking. Suji lit a cigarette and remembered that the report said their village was so creepy and scary, but Suji was ready to impress his friends with his techniques. Suji wondered if it was because of the demon tower, and he was curious to know how quickly they would clear the tower of dangerous monster enemies. Suji continues walking with Zhao Yuanyuan and asked why there was not a single soul there, and they had entered enemy territory, and he was wary. And then Zhao Yuanyuan turned around and said to Suji, "There is a demon." And she noticed the demon even in the darkness and will protect Suji from any threats. Xiao Yuanyuan noticed the silhouette of the demon, and she is worried about Brother Su. Zhou. And in this territory, Brother Su, Zhou is not 100% strong. The demon's silhouette began to walk towards Zhao Yuanyuan and Suji, and they are ready for battle. And it's not for nothing that the brother took the A-rank mission and is already motivated. And at this moment, a monster appeared in front of Zhao Yuan and Suji wants to find out information to cure Zhao Yuanyuan. Suji was surprised, and Zhao Yuanyuan already knows the data about demons, and Heihua was not deceived by the black disaster, and he will leave the demon to his sister. Zhao Yuanyuan uses the cursed needle technique, and no one will ever harm Suji, and the enemies will regret ever getting involved with Zhao in battle. Zhao Yuanyuan walked towards the enemy, and she was serious, and the demon would not take them by surprise, and the Draugrs have very developed intuition. Zhao Yuanyuan began to strangle the demon and pierce it with a needle. And Master Suji can be entrusted with any task, and she will not let Master Su down. Suji is happy, and Zhao Yuanyuan's memory hasn't returned, but she uses techniques without problems, and this is progress. But she said that the demon is not dead. The demon continues to move his hand after the opponent's powerful blow, and Zhao Yuanyuan doesn't know what's going on, and it seems their enemy isn't that weak. Suji asks, Zhao Yuanyuan, wait? And it is not a demon, but a white zhang. And that is why the sister was unable to deal damage after attacking the enemy. Suji and Zhao Yuanyuan stand in front of the enemy, and the white zhang is a type of undead in folklore, and is often the first stage of the evolution of the zombie zhang. Suji wondered if it was because of the pattern on the demon's hand, the white zhang, and it was somehow connected to the curse his friend kept talking about. Zhao Yuanyuan uses the corpse stitching technique, and it will strike the white zhang demon's soul and find the weak point of any opponent. But when Suji did not expect it, Zhao Yuanyuan instantly tied up the demon white zhang, and she promised Master Suji that she would stop him. Suji laughs and said to Zhao Yuanyuan, "She is great, and he never doubted her skills, and she is his protector, and she has a kind soul." The white demon Jiang wants to hide, but Zhao Yuanyuan has tied him up tightly, and no matter how hard he tries, he won't be able to get out, and she guarantees it herself. Suji told Zhao Yuanyuan it was time to enter the tower, and they would first find Old Man Lin and hope he knew what happened in that tower. Lady Monster Hongai didn't think that she would encounter something from her native lands and the skill of Ganshi Jianggu and the Flower Cave Maiden in this territory. Lady Monster Hongai knows these 3 arts are known as the 3 very sinister arts of Hunan, and is this place related to Ganshi? At this time, at the headquarters of the Demon Suppression Bureau, the scientist told boss Tian Quan that White Zhang had sounded an alarm, and strangers had infiltrated. Junior General of Staff Tian Quan asked the scientists if anyone had decided to try their luck in this tower again, and they were annoying the general. Junior General of Staff Tian Quan ordered all the scholars to get rid of these people and not interfere, because the general has a lot of things to do and he is so busy. The assistant told Junior General Tian Quan that this time the whole situation was different, and he had to find out important information about the fighters. The assistant told Junior General Tian Quan that 4 people had already arrived and the Holy Maiden of the Heavenly Palace was snoring among them and they were looking for her. Junior General of Staff Tian Quan asked the assistant if she was sure, and the lady saw the 4 of them walking one after another and they were not together. Junior General of Staff Tian Quan requests that all people be ordered to monitor Hong Gai and find out his strength level, and this is a chance to improve. At this time, Suji knocked on the door and told Uncle Lin that this was Suji, and he came to help and asked him to open the door and that he would not harm Uncle Lin. Uncle Lin opened the door and asked Suji if it was really him, and he didn't expect to see him and thought his uncle was hallucinating and seeing visions. Uncle Lin asks Suji and Zhao Yuanwen to come quickly before they are seen, and he will explain all the information to them, and Uncle missed Suji. Uncle Lin immediately locked the door and he is afraid that someone will come into the house after Suji, and they need to be more careful and cannot trust anyone in the towers. Suji asked Uncle Lin what happened to the village and he didn't recognize it, and it seems like someone is to blame for the destruction of the village, and does Uncle know? But Uncle Lin told Suji that there is information that he cannot tell him, and he always thinks about Suji's health and does not want to harm them. Suji noticed that Uncle Lin was acting strangely and seemed afraid, and he had never seen him in such a state, and was obliged to find out all the details. Suji asked Uncle Lin why he couldn't see his daughter Lin May, and if he thought about it, she should be an adult. And where did Uncle's daughter go? Uncle Lin asks Suji to come into the house and he will explain the situation, and he will learn a lot of important information that will give answers to his question. But at that very second, Uncle Lin froze in place, and Suji asked what kind of sound they heard, and he would find the answers to the questions and would not abandon his uncle. Uncle Lin begs Suji not to go out, as he will bring trouble upon them, and tells them to hide. But Suji heard the wedding procession at night. Suji is in complete shock and he realized why he heard a night procession in the house, and this event is associated with the marriage of spirits and monsters. Suji opened the door and noticed a lady standing in the room, and she was behaving strangely there and what was going on in the area. And he would find out the secret. The lady turned around and Suji wondered if this was Uncle Lin's daughter, and he hadn't seen Lin May for a long time, but she had changed, and he would explain everything to her. The wedding ceremony continues with Lin May saying that flower petals fall for love, and the flower cave maiden will return. Suji can't move from the spot from shock, and Uncle Lin asks so to quickly close the door, and it was not for nothing that he warned him, and it is so dangerous there. Strange people repeat the flower petals fall for love, and the flower cave maiden will return to God and carry Lin May in their arms. But suddenly at that very second the strange people turned around and noticed Suji, and they stopped repeating the words, and Suji doesn't like the ritual. Uncle Lin slammed the door at that moment, and why doesn't Suji understand that Uncle Lin is saving him, and they can't disturb the strange creatures? Uncle Lin locked the door tightly and no one would enter the courtyard, and Suji didn't know what was going on in the tower's territory, so he made mistakes. Suji asked Uncle Lin if he would continue to remain silent, and he and Zhao Yuanyuan had long understood that Uncle Lin was keeping the secrets of the tower. Uncle Lin knocked on the door and asked Suji what he could say, since Lin May was his own daughter and she had entered the demonic pagoda. Uncle Lin is hysterical and he couldn't do anything, and Uncle is powerless. And if Lin May hadn't gone, the monster would have killed all the people in their village. Suji is in complete shock and told Uncle Lin that his hand has changed, but he asked Suji not to interfere, and Uncle Lin doesn't know how to solve the problem. Uncle Lin told Suji that he and his daughter were already indebted to Suji, and that he could not be allowed to take risks again, and begged him not to interfere in the matter. Uncle Lin asks Suji to leave there while he can and not look back, and in vain he came to their territory and he will not find answers to the questions. Suji told Uncle Lin that he understood everything and came to the village in time, and that he would not leave Uncle Lin and his daughter in trouble, and that they were dear and close. At this time, strange people said that the auspicious hour had come, and they were obliged to escort Lady Lin May to the bridal chambers, and everything was ready. Strange people said the bride enters the cave and asks strangers, and named people to disperse and not interfere with the bride Lin May and the groom. Suji watches the strange people sitting on a tree, and the strangers entered there, and he waited for the moment when the enemies lost concentration. Zhao Yuanyuan stands next to his friend, and Suji, without thinking twice, asks Hei-Ho Black Disaster what she thinks about this situation. Hei-Ho, the Black Disaster said the pagoda in this village is man-made, and the price is the sacrifice of human lives, and people are more cunning than monsters. There are 2 types of pagodas. Some are created by people to raise demons to capture or subdue them, or to obtain resources and food. Others are created corrupted, and they have already made a pact with monsters, so they draw energy from the pagodas to strengthen themselves. Hei-Ho Black Disaster told Master Su that in any case the lady who became a victim is doomed to die, and people will not let Lin May go. people said good evening to the Lord of the Cave, and the huge monster is delighted, and his bride has arrived and he has been waiting for the moment for a long time and is so happy. Lin May stands before the head of the cave, and the strange people bow and pray to the head, and he is their protector and savior, and they will approve of their boss. The head of the cave began to reach out to Lin May and told his wife to come to him, and the people did not disappoint and chose the ideal candidate for the boss. The head of the cave lifted Lin May up and asked her to let him enjoy her taste, and not to be nervous. And soon Lin May would not remember their incident. The cave chief told Lin May that he would taste her from top to bottom and would never miss a single piece of her perfect body, and he was pleased with May's figure. But suddenly, Suji stood on the head of the cave leader and ordered the idiot to remove the stinking mouth from Lin May, or else he would evaluate the strength of Master Su's strike. The head of the cave turned around and noticed Zhao Yuanyuan standing on his shoulder, and he doesn't know when the people managed to climb on him and they are nimble. And at that very moment, Zhao Yuanyuan dealt a powerful blow to the monster's head and sent the cave leader to the next world and avenged her sister. Suji grabbed Lin May and prevented her from falling hard to the ground and getting seriously injured, and guaranteed Uncle Lin's protection for his daughter. Suji saved Lin May and his hypothesis was correct, and the master knew that the monster was not so simple and not like other alien towers, and Su was a genius. Suji recognized that this monster was only an empty shell, and that the monster was transmitting energy into the pagoda. And this was already important information for solving the mystery. Lin May asked Brother Su if it was him, or if she was hallucinating out of fear and couldn't believe her eyes and was glad to meet him. Lin May is nervous and asked her brother Suji how he ended up there, and that the village is dangerous and she doesn't want her brother to be hurt by the monsters. Suji told Lin May, the main thing is that she is okay, and why does her sister have the same mark as her father, and asks Lin May to tell the truth. Lin May told Brother Z that this was done by people from the Demon Suppression Bureau, and they are hiding many secrets, and the organization is clearly not good. Lin May accidentally saw people from the organization in the mountain and heard them saying that anyone who enters the village will not leave the village. Lin May said that those who enter the village fall under a curse, and if they leave the village, people will die. And Suji is shocked by May's words. Now Suji understood why Uncle Lin insisted on his departure, and did not think that he would fall into the enemy's trap so quickly, and was mistaken, and this is a disaster. Suji asked Heihua, Black Calamity, and Scarlet Phoenix Hong Luan if they knew how to remove the enemy's seal from the master's body, and the boss was in trouble. But Heiho, Black Disaster, told Master Suji that she had never seen such marks, and it seemed that the enemy was smart and had thought of all the moves in advance. Scarlet Phoenix. Hong Luan asked Master Su how she knew how to remove the seal and told the boss to figure it out himself, and Luan believed. Suji is despondent, and why Heihuo's Black Calamity and Hong Luan's Scarlet Phoenix are absolutely useless in this situation, and he is losing hope. But suddenly the monster lady Hong Gai told Master Suji that she knows how to remove the enemy mark from her brother's body. But Hong Gai has one condition. Lady Monster Hong Gai told Master Suji that he should accept her into his squad, and then she would remove the enemy mark without any problems and guarantee. Suji called the monster lady Hongyi a leech, and how she tracked down her friend. And Hongyi is horrified and points her finger at her brother Suji, asking him to be careful. And at that very moment, Jessica appeared behind Suji and wanted to hit the enemy with a scythe, and she promised that she would take revenge on the master, and that day has come. But at the last moment, Zhao Yuanyuan struck Jessica's scythe and protected Suji from injury, and she will protect Su's friend from any enemies. Suji told Jessica that she managed to survive last time, and why she decided to come to their squad again, and that she is not afraid of strong enemies. Jessica took off her robe and said to Suji that apparently he had already understood everything a long time ago, and that he was no match for her, and that his skills and techniques were not enough for the fight. Suji said he realized that Jessica was impersonating Lin May, and his sister never called him Brother Suji, and Jessica gave herself away then. The difference between A rank and B rank is huge, and the technique Suji used last time against Jessica clearly affected him. Jessica told Suji to give him the compass and she would kill him quickly, otherwise she would return her humiliation 100-fold by torturing him to death and guarantee. Suji told Jessica she looked like Hong Gai, the clingy one, and where was the lady whose form she took, and Hong Gai asked who the idiot Jay insulted. Jessica asks Suji not to be nervous, and she did not kill that lady, and she only takes what she needs, and she has principles and methods in business. Jessica doesn't like to kill indiscriminately like others in her organization, and she left that lady on the side of the road without causing any injuries or beatings. Suji realized that it seemed that Lin May's sister was not in any danger, but to find her, he first had to deal with Jessica. But there were 3 of them, and that was cool. But when no one expected it, someone said the fish had bitten, and they had no doubt in the brilliant plan and cleverly distracted the fighters' attention. Soldiers from the Demon Suppression Bureau surrounded Suji and his friends with machine guns pointed at them and will not allow the fighters to leave their village. Junior General of Staff Tian Quan asked the soldiers if they couldn't quietly enter the tower and why they were making noise and attracting everyone's attention. Jessica asks the Demon Suppression Bureau not to use force, and they are not enemies, and she came to pick up one thing and does not want problems. Junior General Tian Quan told Jessica that she was on their bureau's territory and wanted to take something, and ordered her to get out while she was alive and threatening. Junior General Staff Tian Quan is serious and will not wait and take drastic measures if Jessica does not leave. Jessica asked Junior General Tian Quan why it sounded like they were on the good side and she was the villain, and they were wrong about everything. Jessica told Junior General Tian Quan that the Bureau is doing a noble job, but they are parasites, and she heard that this is their palace's idea. But suddenly, at that very second, a fighter from the Demon Bureau dealt a serious blow from Jessica's back and carried out the order of their General Tian Quan. Suji and the Monster Lady Hong Gai are in complete shock, and did the Bureau fighter really take out Jessica in one blow, and they already have to be more careful with the enemies? The soldier asked Junior General Tian Quan if he should report this, but the general said it was just a spy and there was no need to report anything. Junior General of Staff Tian Quan asked Suji if he was the young man who killed the great god while being weaker, and an incredible story. Junior General of Staff Tian Quan asked Suji why he was standing there with the Holy Maiden of the Heavenly Palace, and he was interested in knowing everything. Suji is perplexed and he doesn't know any Holy Maiden, and it seems he got something mixed up, and now he is also interested in finding out who this unique person is. Lady Monster Hong Gai was surprised and asked Zhao Yuanyuan if she was a Holy Maiden, and Zhao asked when the Bureau started creating pagodas. But suddenly, at that very moment, Junior General of Staff Tian Quan began to use the technique and became a huge beast and destroyed all the enemies. Suji stands in front of Junior General Tian Quan, and he is not afraid of the Demon Suppression Bureau and will already find out what the Bureau is hiding. Suji is shocked, and Tian Quan has a strong aura, and he paralyzed Suji's body, and the Junior General is definitely a C rank, and the enemy is invincible in battle. Suji wondered if he would have to use the talisman, but General Tian Quan was 2 ranks ahead of him, and they weren't even in the tower yet. Junior General of Staff Tian Quan ordered his assistant to capture the enemies and not let them escape. And the lady understood everything and went to fight. But at that very moment, the ground under Suji's feet began to crumble, and General Staff Tian Quan would not miss the chance to remove the enemies and they on their land. General Tian Quan's assistant runs to attack Suji, but doesn't know what's going on there or why the ground is shaking and cracking. Suji fell underground, and the assistant of the Junior General Tian Quan did not have time to eliminate the enemy, and hopes the general will understand and forgive. The assistant told Junior General Tian Quan that someone had helped their enemies escape, and it seemed they had studied their bureau's territory well. But when the assistant was not expecting it, Junior General of Staff Tian Quan grabbed her roughly by the face, and the boss will not tolerate failure of the task. Junior General of Staff Tian Quan raised his assistant and told her that she was useless trash and that he shouldn't have trusted a weakling with this important task. The assistant is very hurt by the capture of Junior General Tian Quan, and she begs the boss to forgive her so that she will not repeat her mistakes. Junior General of Staff Tian Quan began to leave from there and ordered his soldiers to catch the enemies, and they are needed alive, and he will punish the enemies. The assistant is horrified by the actions of General Tian Quan, and he attacked her and wanted to take her life, and their general does not control his emotions. At this time, the friends emerged from underground, and Suji's friend from the squad saved all his colleagues, and the friend remembers how he guaranteed his brother's safety. Suji sat down by the tree, and now they are not in danger, and thanks to their friend from the squad, he came in time and protected them from a dangerous enemy. But Suji asked his friend if next time he could not leave them behind, and he swallowed earth for 10 minutes while crawling like an insect. A friend told brother Suji that he had recently received an artifact from Uncle Tian and hadn't quite gotten used to it yet, and just stumbled upon them during a fight. Suji asked his friend if he just stumbled upon them, or was following them closely. And the friend and the monster lady Hong Gai told Su that everything was just a coincidence there. Suji asked his colleagues if they really thought it was time for fun. And this was an A-rank tower, and it was much more dangerous than the previous ones, and the master wasn't lying. Suji told his friends that the Demon Suppression Bureau was involved, and that this tower was different, and that the 2 friends would not be able to defend themselves in a fight. Suji is serious and ordered his friend from the squad and the monster lady Hong Gai to get out of enemy territory before it's too late, and the tower is so dangerous. Lady Monster Hong Gai is depressed, and she wanted to help her friend Suji, but he thinks she is useless, and Su thinks she can't protect herself. A friend from the squad apologizes to brother Suji, and he knows that he always drags everyone down and causes problems for Uncle Tian in the missions in the tower. A friend told brother Suji that he is weak and still hasn't woken up, But he sees Uncle Tian going to the towers again and again to do business. A friend from the squad wants to become stronger at least a little, and somehow help Uncle Tian and Uncle Lao. Tian is so tired and he is a burden to all his friends. Suji remembered how he promised to draw a talisman for Uncle Wu, and the talisman would turn into money so that Uncle Wu would sit and count the money. Suji remembers how Uncle Wu told him that then he should try not to die and live longer, so that Suji would give his uncle a lot of money. Lady Monster Hongai told Master Suji that she is a weak lady, and if she goes out, the enemies will catch her again, and her brother won't drive his sister away. Suji agrees and his friends can stay, but they need to be on guard, and he will be unhappy if one of his friends dies and everyone comes out alive. A friend from the squad told Brother Suji that when he was digging a tunnel, he noticed something strange and had to report important information to Brother Ji. Suji asked his friend what he noticed, and when the friend dug out, he saw houses there, but many were empty, and perhaps the place was already dead. But the strange thing is that in every house the fighter passed by, a faint cry similar to a child's was heard. And this is strange, and he is in shock. The friend then thought that since the houses were empty, how could there be children in them? It was creepy, so he didn't linger and hurried to his colleagues.